Good evening, and welcome to the Contraband, where 6 Shakespeare actors play blades in the dark. I'm Ted Bushman, Gamemaster. Joining me on this tale of pathological pugilists, narcissistic noblemen, and corrupt cops are Jamie Hansen, Ben Isaacs, Kristen Perkins, Graham Ward, and Carson Wright. Good evening, friends. Please go around in the customary order to avoid any brain melting, and tell me who you are, who you play, and either something this past week that you are proud of, or something in this upcoming week that you are anticipating. Jamie.
From what the customary order is. I'm Jamie. Yes, I am Jamie Hansen, playing Varric Lomond. I assume our narcissistic noble, although I'm sure there are many. But
Numerous.
Pronouns are he, him, and something I am proud of this week. I just recorded a session for something where I got to do a whole bunch of volleying and screaming and getting killed, and it's always loads of fun getting killed in any medium outside of real life. And so, it was a good time, and I'm proud of that. So
Amazing.
Hello, my name is Ben Isaacs. I use he, they pronouns. I'm playing Hix Templeton, the spider of the crew, the psychedelic mastermind. One thing I'm proud of, this last week I finished, I write indexes for just like my job, and I finished indexing this book on criminal justice, and it was hard as hell. And just really satisfying to take a look into that and to like help push forward something that is, I don't know, hopefully going to make things a little bit more even-handed. And yeah, so that was something I'm feeling pretty good about.
Very cool. I love that. Kristen.
It's me. I should know because I'm in the middle, regardless of which direction we go. Hi, my name is Kristen Perkins. I use she, her pronouns. I play the girl, the resident sneak, and greedy, avarice bitch. No.
Wow, do go on.
Yeah.
We love her too.
I love her a lot. This last week, I knew this for a while, but I'm able to officially announce that the library I work for won a grant from the American Library Association and the National Endowment of Humanities.
Cool.
Sure.
It's a big grant, and it's all for me. It's all for the adult program. So I'm gonna buy some guitars for the library and stuff like that, which I'm excited about.
So cool.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Okay.
That's so cool.
I have like some experience as well with NEA grants, as well as I've written one index, Ben. So I don't know that I feel your pain because it was for my own book, but it was a form of pain.
Certainly.
Okay, hi, I'm Graham Ward, he, him, and I will be playing Borden, the cutter. And let's see. So this past week, I was fortunate enough to appear as a guest on 2 different live streams. They happen to be simultaneous because of one being pre-recorded. But I got to have an interview discussion on long-form role-playing game campaigns with Ginny Loveday on the Baldman Games Twitch channel, as well as play with Homies Helping Homies on D'Angelo's Twitch channel. So that was really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I also got to work on a new play, not mine, but a friend of mine is having a play commissioned. I got to read some parts, so got to do theater, got to do games. It's been a week.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Great. So that takes it to me. I am Carson Wright. He, him. I play Aldo Basran, the he, him as well. Our leech.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, what is he? Moody, emotionally damaged. What was the name of his class? I couldn't remember the playbook for a second. Anyway, I'm very excited to be here. I am proud of, honestly, this is just on our mind. We've been blitzing through. We're on a bit of a little vacation from work because it's the midwinter break. So Ted and I, and also Ted's dad, have been blitzing a campaign of Arkham Horror, the card game, and we've done really well. Like, we don't have a lot of time, and you want to get it all in, and so it's been actually super fun to like step away from other things of the world and enjoy cosmic horror, I suppose. Very fun. Was proud of our last one.
Yes. It's been wonderful. Yeah, we're definitely in the 99th percentile of fitting board games into amounts of time. It's, pretty exceptional.
One of our talents.
Anyway, I'm proud of something that's happening happening this evening, or that happened earlier today, which is that you're going to hear a bunch of music on the stream tonight, and have been hearing music on the streams as we've been doing this game. Over the last few months, I've been sort of trying to beef up that music, get live musicians on it, learn a bit more about music production, and released an album today, which is on iTunes and Amazon, all the things. It'll be like available to stream. I think that I was planning to try and have it at 11:30, like when our session will be done, so that everyone who finishes can then go and stream the album. It's called Leviathan in the Harbor, under the artist name Architelos, like architect and telos. That's just the project I'm going to be releasing, sort of soundtrack music under, just because not everyone, the Venn diagram of people who like all the different things I do is not a circle. So wanting to let people go different places. Anyway, it's cool. We're really excited about it. And yeah, if you want to check out this music, you can now stream it on Spotify and use it for your own games and other things. So yeah, very excited about that. It's been so much fun. And every single member of the cast is also featured on the album, which is really exciting. Ben is featured playing guitar beautifully on a track called The Forgotten Chapel, which is sort of Aldo's theme. And everyone else is featured making whale noises. Which is awesome.
We'll let you try to decide who's who.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's what whale.
Drop in the chat
So-
who you think is.
It's great. When Kristen originally did it, I texted her that she was like exceptional, the best whale sounds anyone ever made, and Kristen was really excited about the idea that was actually true. Which
I really was. I just want to be exceptional in everything. And I thought you were joking, but I thought there was a chance that maybe I was just really good at whale noises.
So let's jump into our recap. In our previous episode, the crew continued to deal with the exhilarating and frightening new realities of their relationship with the collective. Varric, Hix, Bram, and the girl had lunch with the White Stag, the enigmatic leader of the collective, where she offered a job rescuing two kidnapped noblemen from a vicious gang of Deathlands outlanders on board a train. So Aldo and Bram descended into full-scale self-sabotage in their cognitive dissonance over what they think they know about the collective's secret dealings. And Bram also fought in the quarterfinals of the Mudfire Crown, Duskfall's premier underground fighting ring. Tensions are simmering underneath our crew, and the future seems perilous. But in the meantime, let's go rob a train. Our show is delivered to you by rail by Ghostlight RPGs, a rough-hewn Deathlands gang bringing the spirit of live theater to tabletop role-playing games. If our stolen goods please you, we invite you to follow, subscribe, and to take a look at the Ghostlight RPGs Patreon. Content warning. The Contraband is a crime drama set in a dark and unpleasant city. Episodes will almost certainly contain strong language, brutal violence, and sex. They may occasionally also include human trafficking and implied, though not depicted, danger to children. Be advised. So, clip your tickets with the engineer, step aboard the Deathlands train, and descend with us into the Contraband. So, Hix Templeton. The temperature is somewhere in the 30s, the warmest it's been in a couple of weeks. Where do you go in the middle of the night after attending the Mudfire Crown? And what do you do?
As I'm walking home, I'm going to stop by a little hole in the wall place that I know in Silk Shore. And I'm going to spend 1 coin on a very nice bottle of liquor.
All right.
What's available to me?
Yeah, so you're going to go to a bar called the Fabulous Collapse, which is on the edge of a canal in Silk Shore. You're offered, there's Taikarosi Rioja, there's Alcabulani white rum, which you've actually transported some of for the crew recently. And there's also a couple of, there's a Charter Hall port, which is sort of a classic. And probably a couple of white wines from Barrow Cleft and other areas.
Great. I'll get some of that nice white wine from Barrow Cleft, the kind that the wealthy drink, and just for good measure, I'll buy a bottle of the white rum.
Sure.
Just to sort of get the consumer experience of the fruits of my effort.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you've got these 2 lovely bottles. One, with the wrapping very familiar Duskfall stuff, and the Alcabulani stuff is the glass is the way it's produced is it's like the glass has been carved with all of these symbols. There's no paper wrapping on it, but it's just this beautiful, gorgeous creation that's very unique to Alcabulan.
Wonderful. I'll go straight home and open the bottle of wine and begin to drink it, too much of it. And in Hix's flat, there's a large mirror that's sort of like wreathed with candles, and Hix will just sort of like with this bottle in their hand will approach the mirror and just like be looking at it and like looking at the drink and just say, "Oh, here we are again.
Hix is
you and me."
Hix, your reflection looks down at your glass, just like you're doing, just in reflection, a reflection of you, and then it starts to chuckle, which you're not doing, and oh, it's good to be back. It takes a drink, though you do not, and sort of steps away.
I just like watch it, sort of acidically.
Your reflection keeps drinking a little bit. It says, "You should really have some more. It's very good. This is a good choice. Oh, I love this."
I don't know. I just don't know why I keep doing this, I don't know why I keep doing this.
What, talking
like
to me?
It's all... Yeah. Come on, be with me here for just a moment.
All right. Yes. What is it?
Be serious.
Okay.
Keep on finding ourselves here. We keep on doing this. But why? Yeah. It used to be so much fun. We would transport things. There was danger. There was these like close scrapes. There was, I guess it sort of made me feel alive. It felt just satisfying to engage in the logistics of flow, object A, a long path to location B, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But there's not even any like challenge to it anymore. So I just find myself wondering what the use is.
I'm sure. I mean, but look at you and look at this suit. It's so nice. It's not flamboyant at all. You know who it reminds me of? It makes things. It's exactly how she would have wanted us to dress. I mean, all that preparation, big business. She dreamed of this, of like Hix Templeton, an agent of His Majesty the Coin. Only the coin is immutable, and Hix is malleable. Put them in your mouth, and they bend like plated lead. Isn't that kind of fun?
I guess it's kind of fun. It's been fun, but now I'm just sort of bored with it.
It is boring.
But it's
You can
also
make it
just like,
interesting.
why keep doing it? Why keep going on? Why keep doing these things for these people? I don't even know who this man is that we're breaking off this train, or what he
There's
stands
something-
for. I don't really care. And that's what is so funny.
Yeah, something that's been. It is. It's. I mean, do you remember a couple nights ago when we went out with Aldo? We had a taste of the needle again. That stuff's good.
Stop.
You don't need meaning if you
Just
have
stop.
blood needle.
Stop.
Okay. All right. Fine. Well, what do you
I'm
want?
not going to be lying to myself anymore, and you know that.
Okay. All right.
So
No more
stop
lies.
it.
Okay. You're right.
I don't know. I'm going to take another look at this bottle of rum. I'm going to say, if I drink this, I'm going to have a bad time tomorrow. And I know that. I know that if
Yeah.
I drink this, that
Yeah.
I'm going to wake up in 4 hours feeling hot and anxious.
Yes.
And tomorrow I'm going to have a headache all day.
Yeah.
But I look at it and I still really want it. And I don't know what that means. But
Don't they
I just
say
don't want to
it's
be
because-
living like that anymore.
Mm.
That's the thing. Is that
Sure.
what's the use in doing this?
I think you need to want something else more, don't you? There needs to be another drug, because that's what the flow is, right? The flow is a drug, but it's a good drug. It's the one that doesn't kill you, right?
I've thought that for a long time, yeah. But I just think that it should be able to happen without it hurting me. That it shouldn't be taking a toll. That I should be able to just find this way of ease without it. That's what I
Sure.
want. It should be like that. Why isn't it like that? It doesn't seem like anyone's figured that out who I know. But when I think about it, it should be like that. It should be easier to just be. But everything has to be such a fight and such a struggle. And everyone has to be like on this wheel, chained to some wheel of self-destruction and doing something that you have to fulfill a function and then recovering from it by getting drunk. What's the use? No one's happy. No one sleeps well. I'm gonna take the bottle and I'm just going to set it down.
Yeah, the reflection will, who has also picked it up when you picked it up, will hesitantly, all right, and puts it down as well. All right.
I'm gonna go to bed now, and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning feeling well. Because we don't have time for anyone to be self-destructing. Too many people are caught in the throes of it. So, if I have a choice, I would choose not to. And then I'll
It's possible.
turn from the mirror and go to bed.
Yeah, and the reflection, will turn decisively with you and also head on. Great. So this, I believe, Benjamin, we are counting this as Hix overindulging. Is that correct?
Well, I think so, but I think I sort of turned away from it there at the
Yeah,
end.
you're gonna talk yourself out of it. Yeah, I think you did. So I think,
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't truly a full overindulge. I think let's not count it. I mean, the coin is enough.
You can
to
have my
cost.
coin. How's that?
Yeah, that's great. Yep. But you didn't drink it. Yeah, great, cool. So Hix heads off to bed. Varric, what do you do after the Mudfire Crown? Well, so you let's say you return home through the ruthless, quiet cold to your flat in Charterhall. So could you describe that place, both the place and what Varric does upon returning home?
Yeah, so it is the upper like attic area. So it's an upstairs room. It's reasonably sparse. Varric's not really good at interior decorating, or if he is, it's all the way that he did up the penny, so gilded surfaces and velvets. And so the bed there has kind of got this rich duvet on top of it. And he kind of saunters in, hoping to find Oyun there, but I think once again he's sort of forgotten she's working at Madame Belorma's that night.
Yeah.
And he's going to kind of arrive back with the coin from selling the edge, and expecting to see her and kind of realize she's not there. And get a little frustrated and start pacing, and pull out some more of the edge that like he hadn't been able to sell, and look at it and kind of count out the bottles. And then he's going to come to a decision and leave the house and head towards Madame Belorma's and towards Silkshore.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Either taking a carriage or just walking across the bridge into Silkshore. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess this would be a question. Would Aldo be home in the lab?
Yeah. Is this post?
This is post Mudfire Crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 2 or 3 a.m. Yeah, or 1 a.m. maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. And you'd find him probably just working on something. Not in the normal room, but one of these new kind of side areas. He's busted out boxes like spilling out on each side, crates and junk and stuff. He's digging through a box right now.
So I think before Aldo maybe notices Varric coming in, he's going to just look, and I'll maybe try and do a survey roll for this around the lab to try and see any like papers or anything that indicates how Aldo's been making this edge. And like what materials he uses.
All right. Yeah. Let's do the survey roll.
All right. That was a 5.
Okay. Yeah. So you're able to find what you're looking for, which are a few sort of confused scrawled notes. They're not, with the 6, I'll say they're not exactly super legible. So it might it's not like a straight up recipe.
There's a lot of shorthand, definitely. Yeah.
And not that Varric would understand exactly how to make any of it. He's just
yeah.
You see ingredients though, like there's probably a pretty good ingredient list other than how to cook it together though.
Okay.
Might be limiting.
And then he's going to try and pocket that. I don't know if I'd need to do a roll for any of that.
I mean, I would assume how I've set this up is what I imagine in the lab is that where you're finding this is not where Aldo is. He's in the other room with this, like digging through some junk and kicking stuff. You can hear him start to hum a little bit.
Yeah, Varric's going to just shove these into his pockets, kind of hurriedly, and then head over towards Aldo. After that, and tap him on the shoulder.
Shit! Oh, sorry, and he hits his head on the edge of the box as he pulls his head out.
What the? Sorry. I was just.
It's 2 a.m. What are you doing here?
I was here visiting Oyun and just thought I'd check in on you, see how you're doing.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, it was just you.
You need something?
No. Just making sure you're all right. You know, we had a good payday tonight.
Glad I could help. I'm working on some more. I'll get started on it tomorrow.
No, of course, no worries. Yeah.
Just working on this other stuff here. Kind of gestures to a unknowable project that is just mostly bits and pieces of stuff.
It looks really very. Anyway, have we told Aldo? You know, out of game, you know about the train score, right? Have we mentioned?
Yeah.
Discussed this?
I
at all?
think
Yeah.
I imagine we all know. Yeah, we're going on the choo-choo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Looking forward to another trip out to the Deathlands.
Well, not really, to be honest. But as far as I understand, it's supposed to be pretty straightforward. On the train out, on the train back. None of this running around, fucking around with boars or nothing.
No boars. Hopefully no spirit incursions again.
You seem to be a little hesitant, though, I notice.
Well, it was a bit much last time, you know.
Yeah, that was, it seems that we always get ourselves involved in something that should be pretty, basic, but doesn't seem to end up that way.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's nice having a little stability now, isn't it? Knowing the next job's coming in, it's going to be straightforward.
Aldo kind of turns away to start sorting some stuff on the table.
And of course, it's always good having friends around to back you up and support you when you need help.
He stops for a second, just hesitating with something in his hand before he puts it down. Yes, it's nice. Nice to have friends to back you up. Turns back around to you. Is there anything else you need, or?
No, nothing else tonight. Just checking in on you. I feel like we don't talk as much anymore. It's been all business lately.
Varric, if you don't mind me asking, what do you make of our generous benefactors?
Well, I think that the best thing to happen to us for a while. I mean, look, I'm not going to labor under the I'm not going to assume that they necessarily intend well for us or for anything that's going on, but they seem to trust us. They seem to rely on us, and that gives us leverage. That means that we can use their existing power, their existing connections for ourselves. So we have allies for the moment. We should use them.
Do you think, I don't know, what would you say if, something were to happen that, put some stress on that relationship? I mean, don't you think we could do some of this ourselves?
I suppose we could, but although that's a lot of energy and time and effort, which we don't need to be spending on that. This is, if we can work within a larger structure, we get to focus on the important things. And if we're branching off on our own, having to find jobs and cultivate independent relationships with individual gangs, that's small potatoes. I definitely wouldn't want anything who's going to kind of pointedly look at Aldo to jeopardize our relationship with the collective.
Well, of course. Of course. They are the best thing that has happened to us.
I knew you'd come around. All right. Well, I'd say I'll leave you to get some sleep, but something tells me that's not really on the agenda.
No, quite busy. Busy. Yes, very, very busy. Thank you for coming, Varric. It is so nice to see you. And like complete change in demeanor as he's like, kind of pats you on the back and walks you out toward the, stop by the rough penny perhaps to like, she's doing quite well. We don't seem to use her much anymore, but anyway, good to see you. And she's
all right,
just like,
yes. And once Aldo's gone, he's going to kind of pull out those papers and flip through them a little. And then, without going in to see Oyun, head back to the apartment in Charter Hall. Charter Hall.
Yeah, it's just you're looking back. It is frigid, so you're really having like you've got your gloves on, or I'm just like doing one hand at a time to stay warm. And when you make it back to the flat, you find there is a letter underneath your door. It's sort of hastily written. It says Varric on it, and it says, as you open it, you find a familiar, very, very good handwriting. It says, "Dear brother, I am distraught and hope that I can turn to you in my hour of need. I've been arrested by bluecoats. I promise I didn't do anything terrible. They've been asking me questions and I'm too afraid to ask father and mother. They said they'd give you a few hours to come down to the station and work things out. Letitia."
Right. Varric's going to kind of reread the letter once just to make sure. What? Letitia? Luke? And kind of very feeling very I'd like to speak to the manager. He's going to go straight to he's going to grab his wallet and head straight to the Blue Coat station.
Wonderful.
See what's going on.
There's a station in southern Brightstone, just across the bridge from Charter Hall. Just so cold out as the snow is falling, starts to fall gently, which it wasn't on your way back from Silkshore. Brightly lit neighborhood. The place inside is well kept, red mahogany interiors, gorgeous lighting. You can tell that this is a station that is not the norm across Duskwall, but is here in the wealthy areas. There are two officers inside. One is a thin, sharp-faced man in his 40s. The other is a stern-eyed woman. The man goes, "Good evening. You're... Yeah, yes?
You holding a Miss Letitia Lomond here?"
"Ah, you're the young mistress's brother."
Yes, I am. Can you please explain to me what the bloody hell you're doing?
I'm sorry. She was brought in by one of our lieutenants. I'm Officer Pence Shambly. It's a pleasure to meet you. You'd like to see her, I assume?
Yes, I'd bloody well like to see her. I'd like you to bring her out right now and let her go.
Yes, I am certain we can do that. There are a few paperwork details. I'm sure we could get her out here for you within a half hour for 3 coin or so.
3 coin? You... see what this is. I see. Can I speak to your supervisor?
Mine. Well, I am the corporal on duty this evening, so our superior is Lieutenant Starling. If you'd like to speak with her, Mira Starling, but she's I'm afraid she's in White Crown this evening. She's not available.
Eric's going to kind of glance down towards his wallet, looking at the measly 15 coin he's got.
Oh, get out of here.
And going to...
This man is considering whether or not to take 3 of his money to save his sister or not.
He knows he's not debating whether or not he's...
They're not gonna hurt her.
No,
She's-
of course not.
He's there, Lomond.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
He's going to say, you know, Wilkes Danbury.
Roll a consort on this, or a sway. What do you think would be appropriate?
I guess right now it's a consort. I don't think that's
Sure.
trying to lie about anything.
No, you're not lying. Yeah.
5.
Okay. I've heard of him. Yes. Why do you ask?
Well, he's a close personal friend. No, I am lying. Who I don't think would take very kindly to the news that you are harassing my sister.
All right. Listen. You know, Wilkes serves under Andre Morland. Yes. He's a bit of a I don't know, terrible policeman, really. Mira Starling, she follows a bit more the letter of the law, and she's my superior. But you know what? I would prefer not to have any trouble between branches of the Bluecoats. I absolutely can expedite this situation for a single coin.
Going to continue maintaining eye contact while reaching in and pulling out a coin and handing it over. And then pulling out a second one and giving it to him and saying, I would appreciate if this would never happen again.
Yeah, we'll put a little clock in here of we'll just mark that Pence Chambly has knows Varric Lomond. We won't make that into a clock, but Pence Chambly has he nods at you with a degree of understanding. He says, all right, well let me get this out of the way. And he pulls out a piece of paper, which you can tell is blank, scribbles something on it, which you can tell is not an actual word, and then walks into the other room and brings you in to a beautiful interrogation room, just absolutely gorgeous. Even the lamp that hangs from it is like one of those like Tiffany glass lamps. It's beautiful. And you see your sister, 15 years old, sitting on a bench in handcuffs. She has the marks of tears on her face. She's sharp-faced, well-dressed, wears a crimson cravat and an elegant coat. She just looks positively helpless. Her large eyes stare up at you. And as you come into the room, she leaps up to embrace you, and tears spring anew into her eyes. She goes, Varric, oh, Varric.
You all right? Have they done anything to you? Are you hurt?
No, they asked me questions, and I feel somewhat faint. How are you? It's been so long since we've seen each other.
I know. How did this happen? What? Can you get these cuffs off of her, please?
The keys slide in very quickly. They fall off of her, and she's. It's just you and her in the room. She says they came and they came and found me. I was walking, and they simply stopped me on the street, brought me in. Varric, is it possible that we could hire a gondola to get us to the Hardenbrook estate? You've been staying there. I've been staying there ever since I won the scholarship competition.
Of course, yes. Yes. Right now. Yes, I'll take you now. He's going to remove his outer coat and kind of put it around Letitia's shoulders
Yeah. You bring her out. She's a good deal shorter than you. She's still there's still a growth spurt yet to happen for her. She goes out, and Pence, the officer, says, "A good evening to you both. I hope you stay warm."
Daggers. As don't say another word, just kind of biting his tongue for the desire to say my father, anything about my father. And in fact, he's going to, once he gets to the door, kind of turn around and sort of go over to Pence and very reluctantly pull out that third coin and slide it over to him and say, "And no word of this to Lord Lomond, of course."
It's a guarantee.
Very well. And then back out.
Great. Letitia says, "Did you leave something in there?"
Yes, just had to speak to him. It doesn't matter. It's unimportant. Why? Let's just get you on this gondola. They picked you up. Did they say anything? What?
Well, so you get yourselves. You head down some stone stairs to a little dock. There's a few gondoliers waiting there. An old man is the one to pick you up, and you're able to pay for it without paying a full coin. And you get into a rather luxurious, long boat with cushions. You see Letitia as she gets in. You notice that, stylistically, she really takes off after your father. There's this wealth and this subtlety. She's also carrying a black leather satchel filled with papers and books, from these studies that she's doing with Mara Hardenbrook, a leader of industry. She's at first quite nervous, but as you talk, she starts to get more and more relaxed, and she just says, "Oh, they asked me these questions, and Varric." She looks at you, and suddenly her gaze has completely lost any of this fear that she originally had, and she says, "Varric, you've been very foolish."
Look, what's happened between myself and father is really nothing.
Not that. It's not that, Varric. You see, a few weeks ago, months ago, I read this letter that you wrote for father. I read it before he did. I had to reseal it so that he would think I didn't. You realize that you're an imbecile, yes? If I was planning to become king of the underworld, I wouldn't write a letter to my father, who is on the assembly, telling him that I was going to do so. Goodness fucking gracious, Varric.
Oh.
It's not like he could prove it's from me or anything.
You signed it. He has examples of your handwriting all over the house.
I could.
Goodness.
Wait, is he? Are you saying that he's sending someone after me for that?
No, he's not sending someone after you. Those bluecoats picked me up because they also suspect you. It's its own issue. They were asking me about you and about the people you work with. Look, I didn't say anything. Come on. Have a little faith in me.
Well, it's not like you know anything about what I've been doing.
No, I just know that a few of you were in a boat together, going across Brightstone, being pursued by spirit wardens in a boat, carrying paintings wrapped up in brown cloth.
All right, just kind of look
Remember,
over towards the gondolier.
We saw each other.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, I remember we saw each other. I remember seeing you the night that I allegedly left that letter, which may not even have been me.
Yes. All right. Yes, we'll keep with that pretense. That's a useful use of time. Varric, look, I don't want to punish you unduly, but here's the thing. I have been accepted into a prestigious scholarship program with Mara Hardenbrook, an important figure in Duskfall, and the thing is, I have a future in this city. We've been raised well, we've been given a great deal of privilege, but our father, He's given us a foundation on which we can build. You, I don't know exactly what you've decided to do with it, but it clearly isn't very much. But I will not allow you to ruin my future. Here's what I was thinking. If you don't want details about your hobby being made known, I think it might be worth it for you to make it worth my while. Perhaps a coin for every one of your little escapades. I think that would do fine.
I beg your pardon?
Look, I'm just saying, I know what you're doing, and everything you've said here has essentially been an admission of that. And I'm sure you'll still run a profit unless you're a significantly worse businessman than I even thought.
Letitia, I'm your brother.
Yes, nominally.
You know, I have a future in the city too. It might not be the same as yours, but I am going to achieve it. And perhaps you would do well to stay on my good side, sister, rather than burning any bridges.
That's good business sense. What if we called it a partnership?
I've been opening myself up to all sorts of those.
Perhaps I could even be of use to you here and there.
Perhaps so. One coin every 2 jobs.
Let's see the concert on that, or whatever you want to roll. You can push yourself for another die.
I will push myself. Well, what would a devil's bargain be in this situation? I haven't asked for one of those in a while. That used to be the go-to.
Devil's bargain.
Yep, we're 40 minutes into the stream. Jamie's asking for devil's bargains.
Yeah, good. Any thoughts from the other players? What a devil's bargain might be? Let me think. What could be good? I don't want to. Here's my thought.
Size
go
of her
ahead.
cut.
The devil's bargain would be the size of her cut?
Yeah, like that, because if they're working out an arrangement, maybe, she demands more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the devil's bargain could be that yes, it's one every other score, but you give her 2 up front.
Yeah. All right. I'll go for that.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. All right.
So that gives you another die.
Got a 6.
All
First
right.
one
Yes.
of season 2.
Thank you,
So-
devil.
Yeah, so Varric, you hand over this money in whatever fashion pleases you. And you get this sense that, like, she is extremely confident, but this might be the first time she's making a deal of this magnitude. And so she, like, greedily looks at this money the second you hand it over and says, yes, deal.
Letitia, this isn't politics and school you're getting involved in. You understand? There's real danger involved in this work, and once you start setting foot in it, you might find it's hard to drag yourself out of the muck.
If you're any example, I'll say that that's likely true.
Oh gosh.
After I've handed over the coin, I'm just going to kind of sit down next to her, kind of hold out a hand for like a, all right, so deal's accepted.
She shakes your hand.
Did you get yourself caught by the blue coats specifically to ask me about this?
That seems like a lot of work. I don't know.
Well, you need to think you might be a little too smart for your own good, you know?
Hopefully, the amount of good is still enough. You know, it's good seeing you again. Reminds me of our vacations out to the estate out in the Deathlands. You hated those train rides.
Do you not appreciate going that fast?
Unless there's yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I've also missed you. I hope you're working hard at school.
I'm trying. Miss Hardenbrook is she's a good teacher. She's very strict. She asks a lot of us. So I've been asleep for 5 hours according to the schedule that she set for me. The gondola sort of pulls up next to this gorgeous, huge estate that belongs to the Hardenbrooks. You're familiar with this estate. Everybody knows this estate. But it's got its own little dock, its own little canal that is guarded by people who are looking down at you. And they sort of nod as the boat comes in when she flashes her hand. And then she gives you a kiss on the cheek, says, "One coin, dear brother." And she leaps off the boat up onto the dock and runs up to the estate.
I'm gonna just hold up, like, do things go like and mouth every 2 drops. All right, back to Charter Hall. Come on, and sort of the gondola.
Yep. You get taken back on your way. So not to give you too much to handle here, Jamie, but when you get back, there is another letter waiting for you. This particular one is the one that you thought you were getting the first time. And it's a letter from the White Stag telling you to meet her for breakfast at dawn. And as you stand there in the hallway staring at the second letter of the night, you were surprised to see that it looks strangely peach-colored. And you realize that it's the light of the sun, which has just risen over the townhouses of Charter Hall. You have spent the entire night outside of the house and are now being called for breakfast at the White Stag.
I'm going to find, some sort of puddle of I wouldn't want to go to one of the canals for that, but I guess
you can go into your house.
I'll go into the house and just very quickly stick my head in a basin of cold water and okay, sleep wasn't on my agenda either, and gather up the notes of Aldo's and the one of the vials of Edge and head over to where I'm meeting the White Stag.
All right, yeah. You are not meeting her at the corner cafe. You are instead meeting her at a small office next to a law firm. There's a pot of marigolds sitting in the window, but most of the rest of the place seems to be still under construction of sorts. Well-dressed men, including your new friend Shiloh, are there. One of them lets you in. They're all, as you've always seen with the collective, immaculately dressed. It's a bright morning by the time that you get there, but still frigid. 2 carved wooden chairs sit in the center of the room that is otherwise full of bustling activity of people setting up some sort of offices. And in one of them sits the stag. She is dressed in the least elaborate thing you've seen her wear, a slim navy gown which accentuates her curves. Her shoulders are bare, her makeup is only slight. And she looks up at you from some paperwork and says, "Pleasure as always, Varric."
Pleasure's all mine.
Yes.
Kiss a hand if it's offered.
Yes, she puts it out and gestures you to sit, said, "Please forgive my haste, but although you are one of the highest priorities, I do have a rather full schedule for today. So let me know what it is that you wish to discuss."
Of course. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
Of course.
And is going to pull out the vial of Edge and sort of set it on the table and say, "Have you any idea what this is?"
Not certain. Is it cooking oil?
Been cooked certainly, but it's a substance. It's been making the rounds amongst the lower classes. It's called Edge. Gives everyone a bit of a bump of adrenaline and energy and ability. It's quite potent, very high quality stuff.
I see. Is this a sample for our use?
If you would like it to be, certainly. I've got plenty.
Wonderful. We just would love to see how it feels.
Sure.
She hands it off to Shiloh, who looks at it as well, and he says, "Oh, I've heard of some of this." Yeah.
Well, I have a proposition for you. You see, as I said, it's been making its rounds in the public, and been turning quite a pretty profit, even. I don't know if you follow the sporting events of the Mudfire Crown.
Oh, yes, I've heard of it.
It was recently banned there because too many of the contestants have been using it to give themselves an edge in their fights.
You must have been quite pleased with that bit of publicity.
Oh, I was very pleased with it. And it's also, as I'm sure you're aware, there's been a bit of a power vacuum in Crowsfoot and numerous other gangs coming out. Plenty of people looking to have a leg up on the competition. So
Indeed, yes.
there's lots of room for aggressive expansion. Well, I know the rules are no personal questions, and I appreciate that, but I also know that you know me and my background, and that my current situation is not necessarily reflective of my actual status in society. I'm bringing this to you to ask you to enter into a partnership with me to make this more of an enterprise. You would have full control of any profits from this and be able to have an eye on the production. All I ask is that you consider me an integral part of the operation. Someone such as yourself does not run a business directly opposite the assembly without wanting to get involved in the inner workings of the city. And I remember from your discussion with Fleur how much you care for people and care about charity. And you know that the current rulers of the city are not particularly charitable.
No.
You put your faith in me, I will help to make Duskfall a better place than it is, the type of place we both hope it could be. So for the moment, all I'm asking for is whatever aid you can bring to this endeavor. A helper, perhaps. My supplier is the best, the very best. I have absolute faith in you. But demand is beginning to rise, and I'm sure they could use a little help.
So, allow me to restate. You have this product. You would like to move more of it.
I
Would like to make more of it.
Yes.
What we can offer, as far as I understand, is we can provide you with a technician, someone who could assist whoever your engineer is with the development of this product. And then perhaps it sounds like you've been delivering all this yourself on foot. We could bring it to others who could help distribute it.
Certainly. Yes.
And we would manage the flow.
You would manage the flow, and as I said, you can take the profits.
You wouldn't want anything, Miss Lomond. Is that the case? We would certainly pay you something.
I would want consideration, and I would want to be remembered as having provided this gift to the collective.
I see. She sort of smirks at you. She says, "You're looking for a mask."
Perhaps. The last one I wore got a little bloody when I engaged in fisticuffs.
Oh, Varric. I love this. I know exactly the person. I'll have them sent to wherever you need them to be. And for your well, what shall we say? For your security, I won't be in contact with them after this. I'll just send them to you, and you can do with them as you will. They're quite capable, and from a similar background to you, in fact. But yes, we can arrange the rest of the details. I'll have one of my people speak with you, and we'll get started.
Wonderful. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you for agreeing to meet.
Oh, I'm so glad you did. And she lets you out, unless there's anything else you wanted to say or do with her.
No, I think that's all. I think everyone's happy with that result.
Everyone's happy with that. Yeah, so happy.
All right, so we'll give Jamie a brief reprieve. Are there any other downtime actions before we go into our score? There's nothing that happens on that. Oh yes, please hit me.
Could I treat that as a training as well? Just to
yes, absolutely. Yes,
train in some resolve.
Yeah, love it.
I love the metaphor of Zoom starting to like phase me out of existence as Varric's like up in this edge game here.
I asked if you wanted any help. And you said no, so I ignored you. And
oh, I love it.
Oh man,
green lizard.
So maybe it's like 2 p.m, the day after the Mudfire Crown.
Mm-hmm.
Bram ambles into wherever I can find most of the crew and says, "Right, who wants a drink?"
I'll have one.
That's what I'm talking about, Hix. I
Maybe
knew
we're in
I
the
could
back room
rely
of
on you.
the. They were in the back room of the Yellow Parrot. Would that be a
Great.
good spot?
Sounds good.
Great. Sorry.
As you come in, sort of like still bloody from your fight, the girl's quickly ushering you to the back room, like, Bram, like, get back here, like, not in front of the customers.
What? Not in front of the customers.
And you have to pay for the drinks, they're not free here.
I'll
telling
pay
you.
for the bloody drink, yeah. Well, how's everyone?
Aldo's back in there too.
Yeah, Bram isn't looking at Aldo
Nope.
at the moment.
Nope, neither's Aldo. Aldo's not looking at Bram.
Oh my god, you two. Awkward silence is like Aldo and Bram don't look at each other, and then I'll say, Bram, how you doing? Great win yesterday.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming.
Great to see you in your element, as always.
Yeah, I've been, recovering. Spent the morning relaxing a bit. Now I'm ready to kick some shit. What's
You're
on
not
your
planning
mind?
on doing that here, are you?
I don't think he means literal shit, he says, looking
Wow.
down at his plate.
It's not out of the question, but yeah, we can go elsewhere if we need to.
I mean, literal or metaphorical, I don't want you kicking anything in this vicinity. I'm
Yeah.
running a business.
I understand.
Heaven forbid that we do, we mess up your little business.
This is a nice place. We don't need to be fighting here. Not with anyone and not amongst ourselves. Bram, what's on your mind? Asking us if we want drinks.
I'll just, thought a bit of a celebration.
Wonderful.
Feeling
What are
on
we
top of the
celebrating?
world. Ready for the, whatever it is. Finals next.
Semifinals.
The semi-finals next.
Semifinals, I'll say.
Yeah.
I mean, but every match is the finals for the person who you're facing, I guess.
So, look, we're doing that train job, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
When do we need to be ready for that?
It's tomorrow, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well then, we better start preparing. And assuming someone brings in a drink at that point, he'll uncork it and start pouring glasses. Something hard, you know.
Yeah,
I really-
Tormus is the one who brings it, nods at all of you.
Thomas.
Bram?
Great.
If-
I'll tell the group about how I contacted the Railjacks and how we have Elias Chain, who's going to be our engineer, and his crew operating the trains that we're going to be moving on.
This will be on out there and coming back. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's
Ted? Yeah. Mhm.
great. Hix, that is some useful. That is very, very useful. That is. This man, very useful.
Seemed like a good time to call in the favor.
Yeah.
They were more than happy to help us out.
And the goal is for them not to them to be none the wiser that this has happened, right?
That's always the goal.
Or at the very least, not know any wiser while we're within 10 miles of them. That would be nice. So what else do we need to prepare?
I'm like, anyone who doesn't have a drink in their hand, I'm shoving it into their hand.
Even mine?
Yeah.
Great, fantastic. He'll take it.
I haven't slept for.
Even mine.
Well,
Seems like we're ready. We just show up at the station. We
Sounds
get out
good.
there and
we'll make it happen.
Preferably
I'll-
not drunk. Drink
Yeah, well-
now, sober then.
Yeah,
Yes?
that's right.
All right, and she'll take a sip.
Oh,
right.
So our objective, to make it explicit,
Hmm.
is, and I will look at whoever, I assume Hix has the best read on that.
Are you looking for me to
Well,
put
yeah,
a
yeah.
scope?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
making
so,
sure I
so
understand
from
what's-
what I understand,
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
I
There
mean,
is
we
no
all
objective. It's
Exactly.
Just, it's.
yep. That's right,
we
Hix.
all
Very good.
know what the objective is. We all know it, but just, just so,
Looking around
so we
to
can
each
say it
other.
one more time.
Okay, how about we all say
Sorry.
the objective on the
oh,
count
hey,
of
what's up?
three?
I'm back.
Oh, there you
I
go.
was about to begin to explain exactly what we're doing, and then I started laughing because I have no fucking idea. We're like trafficking someone back from the Deathlands, and it seemed appropriate that like my connection cut out right then because actually, you throw it over to Ted. Ted.
It's Ratsbane. We're trying to rescue Ratsbane and
The snivelly character.
his,
No, his
his brother,
parents,
his
his
mother
brother.
and his brother, I believe.
Hmm.
Yes, so Darius and Vivienne Rathsbane were they were accused of some criminal activity 4 years ago, were essentially took on self-imposed exile outside of Duskfall. And yes, the Hix will explain this. And now, because the borders are less secure, they're thinking that they were going to return to Duskfall. But in the process of returning home, they were kidnapped by a gang called the Marrow, who are charging the collective an enormous amount of money to get them to give them back. So your job is to steal Darius and Vivienne away from the Marrow, this gang of Deathland scavengers, and get them out of get them back into Duskfall before they get into customs.
But
So
we also don't
goal is-
want the Marrow to know that the
want them-
collective are sort of going like cutting
Yes, going
ties
behind
with
their back.
Yeah.
Yes, they wanted to feel like, oh, whoops, something bad happened. The collective was totally willing to do it, but actually they weren't there. So, yeah, get on the train, find the Rathsbanes, get them away from the Marrow without the Marrow realizing, get them off the train before you get to customs. You're done. Easy.
And we're done.
Wow.
Easy.
Yes, okay. So, see you tomorrow?
I'll hand out the tickets. Here you go. And for you. And you as well.
Amazing.
No, Aldo, you're not getting out of the celebration that early. Come on, you gotta have a drink. I'll like obnoxiously overfill his glass.
Oh, you're making quite a mess here. We wouldn't want to get this all over the floor. Looks over at
No, you like it, right? You're the kind of person who likes to indulge.
Oh
don't you?
yes. Oh yes, I am the kind of person who likes to indulge very much. And he's like,
That's right. We all like to kick back every once in a while. We all like to take it easy now, don't we, boys?
yes, we like that. Give me more.
Yeah. Keep pouring.
Great. And he's gonna go again.
I'll pour one. Can we do a roll to
Yes.
see
Yes.
who goes longer?
Yeah, I hope.
Absolutely.
For the record,
yes.
Bram is indulging his vice.
Oh, great.
Great.
If
Great.
anyone else wants to, you're welcome to, make this scene into that as well.
Great.
I don't
Okay.
think I'll find any pleasure in
This
Yeah.
does not feel luxurious.
And this
and
weird
Varric.
drinking contest.
I'll
Okay.
be present though. I'm with you.
What should we roll? What do you think, Bram?
Yeah.
What do we? What do
Yeah,
we?
what is this? Is this a skirmish move? Is it a wreck move? What are you trying to do to Aldo here?
That is a good
What do you think
question.
is the appropriate role?
Is it like a resolve?
Certainly not a
command?
problem. Certainly no finesse involved. I'd say we can rule that one out.
I wonder if it's a resistance roll in a specific attribute.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think resolve or prowess, either one seems like it would fit.
Let's
Great.
As it takes
we could
resolve.
we could let it be yeah, we could let it be player's choice, resolve or prowess.
Well, I'm good at both, he says to Bram.
Same.
Oh baby,
Got a 5.
I got a 6.
Okay. So how does this play out?
So a number of drinks in, Bram is like leaning forward so much that he starts to like put an elbow up on Aldo's shoulder.
And he's like, get off of me.
Are you gonna take your next drink or what?
I'll take my next
Don't
drink.
slow down.
I'm waiting for you
I can
to
see
fill
the
it
look in
up.
your eye, and I want to take it.
Fill it up, you little. And he's like, just grabs the bottle right out of your hand and your drink.
Bram's doing his upper lip is doing the like,
Yeah.
and he finally takes the glass, and the drink doesn't go down his mouth. It just like splashes up his face as he tips his head back, staggers a bit, like throws an arm up to grab a chair, and just hits air and hits the ground. You can hear his head like crack against the.
Oh my
I
god.
assume it's a wooden plank floor. The glass breaks, and
All those like 2 hands in the air, drops a glass, shatters.
Thus falls the champion of the quarterfinal of the Mudfire Crown.
And I took him down.
Those glasses are going on your bill too, both of
Put it on
you.
my bill. He can't hear you.
oh no.
If you were going to throw up, you didn't know!
A lovely celebration.
There's definitely some on Bram. And all over my shoes. And like wherever.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I will clean it up.
I would have you clean it up, but I don't think you're capable.
No.
Get
And she's
Thomas to
going
do it.
She is indeed going to like go fetch Tormus and a mop.
Mhm.
And if you're done indulging, then perhaps you can leave now?
Bram gets another 2 hours, doubles the amount of sleep he got last night here
Oh,
on the
wow.
floor, unless you want to move him.
He's doing great.
I think
He's
Tormus
out.
might move
He didn't
him
hear you.
to a couch.
Can I pick his pockets just to get what just to cover the bill? I'm not
You're welcome to pick the pocket. There's nothing in it. I have no
Does he have
liquid
no
coin.
Amazing. Yeah, you get some lint and oh wait. So here's the question, Graham. Does she find the telegram with the cipher?
Sure do.
Does she find the translation of the cipher?
Yeah.
I do.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So,
I
yeah,
wrote
for
down in
anyone
my
who may
notes
not-
were some letters. So what is it?
For anyone who may
Yes.
not recall, Ted can give you the text, but it is
Yes, I will.
a cipher telegram that has been decoded, and it contains a message from Ava, is the particular figure who I don't know if any of you have heard about or from, but it's very well, very clearly a well-educated person. Ted, do you want to give the text of it?
Yeah. I'll read it again. So it says, Mr. Borden, I hope you find this message eventually comprehensible. Stop. I thought it wise to make use of a cipher, which I have recently learned about from my friend. Stop. And I have printed this using a telegraph press rather than handwriting for additional security. Stop. How is the cold treating you? Stop. I've not read a poem from you in some time. Stop. Ava, stop. So I'll drop that in the rumors, but I assume that the girl would probably, upon finding this, keep it to herself.
Yeah, she's gonna copy the text out into her notebook and then put the letter
Okay.
back in his pocket.
Okay.
And then turn to Aldo. So your friend doesn't have the coin first, you gonna copy?
No. I will help you make this even better. He looks around. I work it off, see?
What makes you think All right. How do you propose we make it better, Aldo?
He looks around, taking in. I can do some. Well, you do. Oh, shit. These nice lights.
Yes, they are.
There must be something. There must be something you need that I can make.
Aldo, you're still drunk, and I don't know if we need you here. Maybe you should go sleep it off.
Okay. He digs in his pockets and he just pulls out a coin and leaves it and walks off.
Does a coin cover the alcohol, Ted? What do you think?
Yes, it does. A coin would cover.
Coins
it.
Seems like a lot of money. Actually.
Coin's a lot of.
Yeah, that's
Coin
true,
is a
that's true.
lot.
It was also a lot of alcohol.
A capital C coin in game. So a coin is it's a satchel of coins. It's a
Sure. Well, whatever it is, it's a mechanical coin of just
a full
fine.
coin.
Here you go.
There's money moving around this session.
And as he exits the door of the Yellow Parrot, he just trips on a planter out there and hits the ground.
Yes.
Oh, I'm okay. He stands up. Hello? He bows to the parrot statue out front and then
Yeah.
Varric's been nursing the first drink the whole time and just sort of watching Aldo stumble out, shaking his head slightly.
Yes.
So I
Girls-
recover 3 stress from that.
somehow.
Ooh.
And
Pretty good.
Hix being there doesn't help me.
It's only if he indulges
I
vice
might have
with
been
you.
fishing for that, Ben, but I'll forgive you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, you can forgive yourself. That wasn't my vice is pleasure. Yours is pain.
You guys
So
have
if you
that-
can show me a good time, then perhaps.
Amazing. Yeah, Aldo knocks over one of the planters outside these winter flowers outside the Yellow Parrot, and you stumble off through the bitter cold. I mean, it's beautifully sunny and 12 degrees. It is just frigid.
Hix, would you maybe like to escort him? I don't know if he'll get home safely.
Aldo is a big boy. I think he can handle himself through the streets.
Well, perhaps you'd like some more drink.
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Mm,
If I drink too much, I get a headache.
all right, that's fine. Why don't you watch Bram then, here in the back room. Varric, I wonder if I could maybe get your opinion on some of the light fixtures.
Of course, yeah. I always recommend more gold, but we'll take a look at them, see.
Right.
I'll just sit down at a table and pull out a book and begin writing my thoughts, watching over Bram as requested, I guess. As if I don't have anything else to do.
The girl is clearly frustrated that Hix is still there and Bram is still there. So she's gonna lead
you asked
Varric.
me to remain.
Yeah, she's gonna lead Varric to like as far away from sort of the backroom corner where the other two are as she can.
Yeah, there's like the kitchen where Finette works, or you could be out on like the balcony, sort of against the canal. Kind of thing, the two of you out in the cold.
Is there maybe a table on the balcony?
Yeah, of course.
Varric, I was actually going to send you a letter, but you showed up here on your own.
I don't think I could handle another letter, to be entirely honest. I'm
You
glad
do
to
look
run into you in
tired.
person. Yes, it was. It was a long night.
Yes, of course. Varric, my friend, my good friend, I have been wanting to talk to you recently, and you can tell because you saw the white stag maybe earlier today that she's trying to affect that kind of mannerisms, and perhaps you also noticed that she's wearing a white coat similar to the one that the white stag was wearing in the corner cafe, but of course a little bit of a cheaper material. We have some new menu items that I thought maybe you'd be interested in trying.
Of course, Bella. You know, I'm always happy to give you my opinion.
It's Fleur Duval here.
Apologies.
Right, of course. So here we have cucumber sandwiches. They're sort of meant to be a bit of an appetizer. And she's sort of bringing out things that she's had Finette make ahead of time.
Right, good. Yes, I appreciate the crusts have been cut off, which is appropriate.
Yes, of course.
Nice and delicate. Yes.
Yes. See, Varric, you understand the finer things in life.
Yes.
Yes, of course. And I think you understand too that this place could be one of those finer things, finer than it is currently.
Yes. We are slowly but surely climbing up. And
Yes.
we'll get there.
Yes, exactly. Because you know the difference between the collective and us is the collective has some degree of legitimacy. Not perfect legitimacy, but enough that they can, cycle their dirty money through some cleaning process. And I think this place, it could be a legitimate business. And it could make us quite a bit of money. Not to be gauche.
You know how much I love making a bit of money.
Hmm.
In fact, I could do with making a little bit more money at the moment. I seem to find myself surprisingly cash poor. Not really, but at the moment, it's a long story. An expensive gondola ride.
Did they fleece you on the water? Not allow you to get out of the boat unless you...
It's an important.
My friend, I am... And she'll take your hand. I'm so sorry to hear that. All the more reason that perhaps we could work together here at the Yellow Parrot and build something. I would love to hear your ideas. I have some myself. And she's going to pull out like a whole notebook that she's been working on, and there's like things stuck in the pages. It doesn't quite fit the persona that she's trying to envision. It's like much too messy, but many ideas. One, we could have a stage, concerts, things that are classy, the violin perhaps, or bring in, students, get them for cheap, but classy instruments. I'm of course open to hearing menu changes. I thought maybe we could entice people with flyers. That seems to work with the Velvet Patchworks, but I would only want to advertise, of course, in the most rich parts of town, and
we have to make sure we're not coming across as desperate. You want people to want to come and not to be trying to bring them in. It needs to feel as though it's their idea, I think.
I'm certainly not desperate.
No. None of us are anywhere near desperate at the moment.
No, of course not.
But
I'm
perhaps
hoping...
On the subject of the menu, I often find finest restaurants barely offer you a choice at all. You have a prefix menu and the choice between one appetizer, maybe 2 different entrees, and then everyone's getting the same pudding. It's more refined. The chef is choosing your meal for you. Are signing up for the dining experience that the staff is bringing to you. You don't want choice. You're paying extra money to give away that choice.
That's an excellent idea. I've never quite thought of it that way. And she's scribbling rapidly in her notebook as Varric talks. What I would like to do is begin a long-term project? A clock?
Yeah, long-term projects, yeah.
Long-term project, that's what it's called. I know, I've been playing this game for a while.
You're obsessed with this game.
I'm obsessed with this game. That just raises the status of the yellow parrot, and I would like it to be an asset that's actually putting money back in our pockets, along with Varric's help here.
Yeah.
So can
We'll
I
make it a
aid
6-part
you
clock.
in that role then for the clock? Presumably. I assume that would be how that would work. I've also been playing this game for a long time and know the rules.
You could take a stress to give her a die in whatever role she chooses to do.
Yes, that is what I'm doing.
I think given the discussion here, I think I can sort as this conversation unfolds, or a study or survey as you're trying to analyze what could be good. I think both of those would be pretty appropriate. Or are there any others that you're thinking of, Kristin?
Yeah, if you'll let me do a study, I'll do that.
Do a study.
That's great. I do love the idea of the yellow parrot having a stage. I think the girl's sort of pushing for that because she likes that idea.
Yeah.
Cool. A stage.
Or
No, like
great.
karaoke nights or anything. Open mic nights is a bit gauche. It's not classy.
That's right. Not classy. Open mic night, not classy.
So we'll put 2 ticks into a 6-part clock called The Yellow Parrot Redefined. Great.
Okay.
So,
On the tail end of that conversation, Varric is going to say, Fleur,
Yes.
if we had the opportunity to further ingratiate ourselves with the collective, you would be with me in doing that, right?
I mean, absolutely.
Good. I'm starting to have some doubts about some of our friends' ability to see a good thing in front of them.
Varric.
Yes.
I'm very appreciative of the collective. I really am. I want to work with them and work for them. But ultimately, I think, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could be them?
It's like you read my mind.
And here's the bill for the cucumber sandwiches and the other menu items I had to sample.
Good. Yes.
You can pay at the counter, of course.
Right. And Varric like empties out his coin purse to see how much is still left in there.
A moth flies out.
There's
I mean,
there's a this meal would fall under your stash regular
Yeah.
costs. You know,
I lost a level of quality in stash over the course.
Oh, how funny!
One
What a
day.
funny thing that happens to you.
I
did not
know.
anticipate that at
Who
all.
could have thought that?
Welcome back to being poor.
So we are any other downtime actions? I feel like we've maybe got through everybody. Downtime activities. All right, so we'll take a break in just a moment, but first let's get us onto our score. First off, what load is everybody bringing?
Heavy.
Heavy.
And we still have the ability where like a normal.
Yeah, heavy looks like normal. Normal looks like light. Yeah.
I'll do normal.
I will also do normal then.
I'll do normal. Perhaps Bram and Aldo are in one of the engine rooms with the rail jacks, and the other three of us are able to interface with the populace in a discreet manner, you might say.
Perfect.
Aldo showed up at the last possible second.
Yeah, Bram is actually on time, but just is like absolutely sour-faced and looks hungover but awake and just angry as hell.
Yeah. Bram wins the hangover contest of dealing with the aftermath, for sure.
Yeah.
And Aldo's here as a result of that. Late. Doesn't say anything.
Hix
You're all
is sitting in the
Gattaca.
car reading a paper with full faith that all of his companions will make the train.
You're with the rail jacks who are friendly to you, and one of them offers you some coffee, Hix. So like you actually, and another one's like, "Oh, I've got some biscuits lying around. Would you like a few biscuits?"
I'd love some biscuits. Bring them out.
So you go like, you guys have this like really like luxury experience about a half hour before it happens, and then by the time everyone else gets here, it's all gone. And they just like, hurry off. So you're in Gattaca Rail Station, which we'll describe at some future time when we have a score where you blow it up or something. But in the meantime, you take Gattaca Rail Station is like the Grand Central station of the Duskfall in the southeast in Night Market, beautifully lit, elaborate. You take a train out to the Deathlands together from Gattaca Rail. The particular train you take is nearly empty. There's just a few other passengers. It's mostly just car after empty car, prepared to pick up goods outside the city and return them to Mother Dusk. The train lurches to a start. You pass over the river on a high bridge. A section of lightning wall shuts down just in time for you to get to rocket through it into the Deathlands. And out the window, you see just the abyssal darkness of the Deathlands, lit with the occasional blue light of ghosts and other monstrosities.
Oh, good. Here again.
You ride the train for a couple of hours. Eventually you reach the Gattaca Restoration Farm. It's a lake of fluorescent blue light that spreads beneath you. The train is about 100 feet off of the ground on an elevated rail for this section, and you're looking down at it. There's acres and acres of orchards and fields being cultivated using artificial light that's being pumped there. The artificial light is created with Leviathan oil. These farms, and a half dozen like it, keep Duskfall alive. From this height, you can't see much, but you think you see figures in contamination suits patrolling the rows, tending to the plants, coming in and out through airlocks to avoid any diseases coming to and bother and messing with these plants. You slow at the station above the Gattaca Restoration Farm and get off. You see that there's a bridge that crosses up over to the other side of the track so you can get onto an inbound train, but you also see the exits that go to the farms, which are guarded by ministry employees. These are men and women wearing similar Leviathan oil powered armor to the soldiers that you fought in Night Market in season 1. So this place is pretty heavily guarded. You cross the other side and wait for about an hour until the train arrives. It's bitterly cold. It's below zero out here. So you guys are just sitting here in the open air for about an hour waiting for this. And then the train arrives, groaning like a leviathan and glowing with a devilish blue light. You're all standing in the cold as you watch some railjacks standing on the back of the train, battling a pair of ghosts that have latched onto the far end, and they use electric gloves and sort of scare off these ghosts into the night as they arrive. The train is quite impressive and of much newer make than the one that you took out. This one is the train is pompously named Famine's Farewell. It's 15 cars long, and many of the cars are 2 stories tall. So it's all made of like bluish gunmetal. You enter at the foremost coach car, welcomed by a pair of blue coats, you step inside. You smell burning oil and food from the dining car, and cologne, and travelers just mixing with each other. And there are maybe 60 to 80 guests, 80 guests total. You see signs marking the way to the dining car and the sleeping cars. You remember the White Stag's instructions. A gang of Deathlanders called the Marrow have kidnapped Darius and Vivienne Rathsbane and a couple of their servants. You are here to retrieve them from the Marrow, preferably without notice, and to get off the train before it reaches the station and has to go through customs. So your score begins, and we will take a brief break and return with our score. See you in a moment. All right, we're back. Welcome. We're on board a train. The Famine's Farewell, a 15-car long train. You step in. There's a couple points. Maybe, as we mentioned, maybe Bram and Aldo have entered at the engine, along with Elias and some others. But others have entered at the coach cars. I'm curious. Does everyone get on together? Are we pretending that we're separate? Is anyone dressed differently? How do we get on? What's going on?
It sounded like Aldo and Bram are loaded down. I mean, we appear normal, but we are dressed maybe like the engineers.
Yeah, we got stuff.
And under protest have been assigned together.
Yep.
Love it.
It just makes more sense for us to be up here together, even if we don't like it.
Yep. So you enter the locomotive. You have to go through a tunnel inside the tender car, which is the one that's like full of coal. Or in this case, it's actually just full of Leviathan oil. So you pass through this tunnel of Leviathan oil and reach the engine. And a huge vista spreads out to you. There's like this huge window that shows you the Deathlands and the headlights of the train ahead of you. The rain of ash looks like snow. And Aldo, you see the console is absolutely state-of-the-art with electroplasmic technology, the likes of which you have never seen. It's just glittering with lights and super complicated. And Elias and another engineer are sitting there drinking coffee and sort of working on things. Elias, you met last season, is an older gentleman. He was also experimented on, like Pike Renfor. He is still bald. He had hair before, but has remained bald, and has a whitish beard that was sort of salt and pepper gray and is now completely white. He despite the clear physical indicators of what happened to him, he's remarkably cheery and welcomes you in and is happy to have you around. Where's everybody else? You probably, yeah. Go ahead.
The rest of the passengers, they're returning from the Gaddock Farms. You said they're all. It's a nicer train. It's sort of.
Yeah, there's a number of types of guests here. So you enter in a coach car. So Varric, you come in. Maybe you're like well dressed, like not in sort of working gear. There's a mix in the coach cars. There's a mix of padded seats that are all sort of facing forward, like you would see in a train, but also tables where there's people gathered around, and they're all like well cushioned and beautiful. Some of the guests that you see seem to be wealthy types. Noble folk who probably have estates that exist in protected lightning domes out in the Deathlands. You and your family actually had a getaway home in like a collection of other estates farther out of the city, and this is like that. There are also people who are coming from the capital of the empire and from other cities across the channel on the continents. Some of these people seem rougher, and others who seem well suited to traveling between worlds. New money as opposed to the old money of these estates. Both of the coach cars are 2 stories, and there are sections that are cordoned off with thick curtains and other cabins inside wooden walls. You see signs that point you forward to the baggage car, backwards to the dining cars and sleeping cars, and then past that, there there are more cars.
I think I would be dressed somewhat finely. If anybody other than these people or one of the railjacks speaks to me, I have a relation who has a little villa out here somewhere. One of the Harden Brooks, perhaps, but I don't elaborate unless pressed, but also do not lie if possible.
Right. Yeah. They don't push too much. They're interested, but no. But it's more friendly banter at this point rather than rather than people really interrogating you, because your tickets get stamped and you're set. You know, they've done what you done what you need to do.
Meanwhile, the girl has slipped into the luggage car, partly because I want to be dressed in my blacks, like my thieves, like tight blacks. So I wouldn't exactly be blending in. So she's sort of hiding out among the luggage, waiting for the score for the heist.
Right. Yeah. And the heist has essentially begun. The clock that I'm going to start you with is a 8-part clock called Locate the Rathspanes, and it's at 0 out of 8. So you can do whatever method you prefer to make that happen. And Ben, maybe you could check off the find cover identity item in inventory to fit what you're doing there. So really nice clothing. This is like, you know, this is the most groomed perhaps you've seen. Most of you have seen them.
Oh, they're beautiful. Oh. Aldo glances like impatiently at his timepiece, looks at out the front, and then looks to Bram.
So what? We just killing time?
I mean, we're waiting for the signal, aren't we?
So
Meanwhile,
what are we? Sorry to interrupt. What are we waiting for, Ted? It's so we're going to reach a station that's going to has a layover or something in the Marrow or nearby, or
the layover has happened. You have moved on to this train. This train is now returning to Duskfall. So there are actually 2 clocks that are currently working. One is Locate the Rathspanes, and the other is Reaching the City. And so you don't want to get once you reach the city, there will be a short window of time, which will be its own clock to getting them off of the train. But basically, you want to find the Rathspanes on this train. They are on this train somewhere.
And the Marrow are guarding them.
The Marrow are on this train. Yes.
Great. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No. This is great. Yeah. Sorry for my lack of explaining this super well. It is a little bit of a complicated idea.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool.
Oh, it's very cold, but I would love to, if possible, slip out the train and clamber along the side looking into windows.
Sure. Heck yeah. So it's cold enough outside that it'll cause you a resistance roll just to be out there every 10 minutes or so, but you can do a resistance against the cold, or just take a level of harm from the cold, which would make you worse at being fast at things and would reduce effect on certain rolls.
Yeah, I'll try and resistance.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make my way to like the back of the luggage car, open the door, slip out. Yeah. And I'm particularly interested in, it seems like the back of the train, not where the paying passengers are, because I figure they'll probably be hidden somewhere else, although who knows.
Great. Yeah,
okay.
Sure. Yeah, so let's make a prowl roll, I think, and then we'll do the resistance roll for you being outside.
5 for prowl.
Right.
And then for resistance, it's resolve, or right?
Yeah.
Is that how resistance? Yeah.
It can be it can be the one that it applies to, but yeah, this is a physical thing, so I think resolve.
Yeah. 4.
Okay, so that means you take 2 stress from resisting that harm. All right, so but with 5, you get two ticks on the Locate the Rathsbanes clock. So you learn a couple things about the nature of the car. In like the girl in all blacks, I assume you mentioned she's in all blacks.
Yes. Yeah.
She climbs out onto the outside of the train. You've got maybe like some magnetized things that allow you to climb up the side of the metal train.
Dude, Ted, yes.
Yeah, yes, you do. I'm giving these to you narratively.
I do.
But you know, a bunch of the parts of the train are 2 stories, and then other parts of them are there's also an undercarriage beneath the train. So you could not only you as a climber can get kind of all over different parts of the train, but anyone could pass through the undercarriage of the train. They would also just have to resist the cold. So it's open to the air, but above the wheels of this train. So people could essentially like a crawl space underneath the train that people could like navigate under the train if they want to. You don't see anyone down there currently. The wind buffets you like incredibly powerfully as you get out there. I mean, you are like your hands are shaking as you get onto this thing, but you're tough and you're managing this. Like you're able to resist it. It takes a little bit of stress, but you are on the side of the train, sort of moving through it. Do you eventually get on top of the train, or are you like fully on the side of it? What's your...
I mean, because what I want is if there's any kind of windows or even like openings that I'm actively searching. So it seems like the side of the train behooves me.
There's also some skylights that allow people, like if they needed to access and get out on top of the train, they can. So those are so you can sort of be amphibious between those. So you're like hopping along, like, you know, the girl is just balancing in this like enormous wind. This thing is moving like 80 miles an hour, and she's just like hopping between cars. The things that you start to notice is that there are you get the sense of the order of the cars, which is there's the locomotive and the tender, there's the baggage car, there's 2 coach cars, a dining car, 2 sleeping cars, and then 2 livestock cars and 8 cars full of goods. So the livestock cars, there's a bunch of cattle and stuff down below them. The sleeping cars are mostly dark. It's hard to see exactly what's going on in there. And then the top floor of the dining car is also a little bit dark. But yeah, those are the things that you're learning. You don't immediately spot the people you're looking for or get a strong sense of who's where, but that's your first impression. So what else are people doing looking for the Rasbans?
Are there guards on the train? Like
there are blue coats on the train letting you on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would kind of like to be wringing my hands and go up to one of the blue coats and kind of listen. My family's estate was attacked recently by a gang of Deathland scavengers. They took everything. We have to return to the city, and I'm paranoid that they could be following us or be trying to stage some sort of attack on the train. You haven't seen anyone suspicious around, anyone who looks like they're living out in the wilds here, have you?
Let's roll a sway on that one.
All right. I'm going to push myself for this.
Cool.
Of rolling once.
Dang it, what happened?
Right. Right.
Oh, no.
That is a 3.
The blue coat sort of looks at you suspiciously and says, "Oh, I'll look into it." But as they walk away, you see them talk to another blue coat, and both of them look at you suspiciously. So with your 3 and with the girl's 5, I'm going to put 3 ticks in a clock that is essentially meant to represent that the blue coats and other people on the train are concerned about something weird going on. I'm going to title this just for fun: "Snakes on the Train." So that's 3 out of 8 on that. So some concern is growing. You don't get a strong sense, but I'll put 1 tick into locating the Rathsbanes because enough people hear about it that you start getting the sense that like you're like close to enough other passengers that you think this rumor might have spread, and so people might be looking for more about this.
I'll just search. I'll begin moving car to car, just very pretending like I belong wherever it is that I am. And if questioned, will either ignore it or continue moving. I will roll hunt.
Perfect.
And that is a 4.
Okay, awesome. So we'll put a tick into snakes on a train, just in terms of like, you know, someone's moving around. There's a moment where someone's like, "Excuse me, so is this the car you're heading towards? You know, is this where you're supposed to be?"
Mine's this way. And I try not to give them any real attention. I just brush them off.
And they don't mind particularly, so but we'll just tick that a little bit forward, and then 2 ticks on locate the Rathsban. So we're more than halfway there. What you notice is at first it seems like a lot of the people on the train are just like everyone's heavily bundled up for the weather, because like even passing through the cars is like really cold. Furs are extremely common. You see folks wearing heavy boots and carrying packs of their own gear, even these super wealthy folks. But you do start to get a sense of the differences between the beautiful leather and fabrics of the wealthy and the more rough clothing of others. It's only when you're walking behind a man with a heavy, slow gait that you recognize that this coat, the duster that he has, looks made not of any living animal, but out of the horrific twisted hide of a Deathlands creature. The fur that forms his tall collar is brownish, ragged, and strange. And as he turns his head, you see that his entire face is blue and black with ghost burns. This is a member of the Marrow. He has not noticed you. His duster conceals any weapons he might be carrying, but you see this person on the train, and you begin to notice, and maybe you tell me what Hix does, Ben, but maybe they mention to Varric or the girl something that like pointing out that they've discovered somebody.
Yeah, I think I would send messages via the rail jacks to update Aldo and Bram, Varric, and the girl. Yeah,
right.
Just being like, this is the direction in which we're narrowing.
Yeah, right. Cool.
So
we're yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, with that update, I think that is the signal we're waiting for, and Aldo will just stand up and be like, "Come on, Bram, let's go," and lead off. If we can use that crawl space to get back to where we've gotten this kind of information as they're honing in on this situation. Sure. Unless Bram, what else do you think? What's our plan?
No, Bram just clicks his heels loudly and follows you.
What a scamp.
So you head out of the locomotive and climb underneath onto the this undercarriage here. This undercarriage is not designed to be accessed while the train is moving. It's supposed to be while it's staying still. So you get on it, and the howling wind pounds you. Both of you must make a resistance roll or take a level 1 harm.
Baby.
Don't want to do that.
No, thank you. Okay.
4.
Okay,
5.
so 2 stress for Bram and 1 stress for Aldo.
Okay, great. Sorry.
So you both are able to just sort of muscle through it. Maybe Bram goes first, and so Aldo doesn't get as much of the
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Frame is blocking.
Yeah.
Soundly
That's
fair.
Yep. So as you're heading down, what is the girl doing?
So sorry, with the update from Hix, we got a sense of like what car they're heading towards.
You got a sense, yeah. Hix is watching a couple of these members of the Marrow who they've seen, and so you're heading sort of backwards past the dining car towards the sleeping cars, which is looking like where they might be centralizing.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Girl first, and then we'll get Aldo, unless it's time sensitive.
I think I'd like to get sort of on the underside of the train, where presumably part of the function of the like undercarriage is that you can pop up where you need to in each car.
Yeah. Yep.
And maybe from down there, I'm also trying to listen and see if I can hear anything.
Okay. Sure. That could be a hunt. That could be a survey.
I think it could be a survey.
Study.
Can I go ahead and take an extra die, and we'll just count this as me aiding you?
Yeah, that's great. Do that.
Like
So you
as
get another
like
die.
the tip I sent you is
Yeah,
kind of narrowing it
I
down
don't know that counts.
mechanically.
Yes.
5.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna move forward reaching the city clock. So just like as you guys have been working, about a third of this trip has passed. So it's been 30-40 minutes so far, and then I'm also going to put another one into Snakes on a Train as your foot catches on something and this big resounding clang resounds through the train. Someone seems to have been concerned about something, but you're able to slide underneath. You actually at some distance can see Bram and Aldo heading your way through the undercarriage, but you are before you get down, so you get down to the other undercarriage, but realize that you'd been hearing something on the second floor of the sleeping car. So what you learn is that actually the bottom floor of the sleeping cars is where the sleeping actually takes place, and then the second floor are these sort of luxury salons for high-paying guests on the train. And as you're passing by, you hear muffled through the window. I mean, it is like the howling wind is around you, so it's hard to hear exactly what you're what's going on, but you hear a voice saying something to the effect of, Mother, if we're going to get out of this, we need to get out of this soon. Mother, we don't have to get out of this soon. Something to that effect. Yeah.
And I rolled a 6 on my resistance roll.
Okay, great. So no damage
Fortunately.
from that. That's great. Aldo?
So I was gonna say earlier, instead of taking that 1 stress, I realized, is there a way that I could flash back and take a number of stress to have prepared this part of our journey, as to avoid future exposure resistance rolls?
Sure. Yeah, let's do. We'll make that
For
a
Bram
2
and Aldo. Okay.
Sure. Let's make that a 2 stress flashback. To do that, I think that's fine. So you just take the 2 now, and tell us how you did it.
Yeah, so my thought is like, as we started to plan this out at some point during that wonderful celebration, you know, it was like, Bram and Aldo, you're going to come in from underneath, the girl's going to go around, Varric's going to grease all these people or whatever, which you're doing great, by the way. Keep it up. So, but I think, you know, being underneath, we would source as much stuff as we can, probably reluctantly from the collective, like some of these like super, super thick furs and probably like face masks made from anything that we, you know, could put together. But knowing that we'd be under here probably for some time.
Yeah. So you've got wool masks that are just revealing your eyes, and you're generally very prepared for the cold.
Okay.
I'll take 2 stress for that for Aldo and Bram. If others want a flashback, it'll be a little bit more.
Well, yeah, because this was our job.
Will that count against our load as well?
I can accept that.
Let's have that be a tick. Yeah.
I don't intend to go outside. No.
Would that remove the initial resistance stress from Bram?
Yes. So you can take that 2 back.
Okay. Sorry about that. I meant to think of it in the moment, but I'm trying to use
Thank you very
flashbacks
much.
better.
You're totally good. This is great. I love it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, great. Sorry.
Cool.
We'll keep
All right,
advancing.
what's happening next?
So can you give us an update on where each clock is at the moment?
Yes. The locate the Ratsbane's clock is at 5 out of 8. The snakes on a train clock is at 5 out of 6. And the reaching the city clock is at 2 out of 6. So locate the Ratsbane's almost there. Snakes on a train very nearly there, and reaching the city is you still got time.
But only the girl has heard this, heard them upstairs in the sleeping car, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna relay it as soon as I'm close enough to Aldo and Bram because we're kind of converging, but
So I think let's assume that the information is like maybe that there's a place where Varric gets inside. We could do a 1 stress flashback for like having a system of her communicating from the outside. Would that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was little, me and my sister would do sort of taps on the wall.
All right.
I'll demonstrate something, and then that's what she's doing, sort of on the side of the train car.
Cool.
She'll like peek in the window, see Varric is there, and tap to communicate complicated ideas.
So you essentially get what you're tapping is the number of the car and the floor of the car.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you get the sense this is on the second of the sleeping cars in one of the luxury salons on top on the second floor of that car.
Right. Hix, my friend, I think I might have had too much to drink and need to take a lie down in a nice bed. Can you just walk me upstairs? And Varric's gonna like stumble and put his arm around Hix's shoulders and
Oh, you poor dear. I'll just follow.
Pulling sense memory from watching Aldo yesterday. He's gonna be acting as though he's drunk and needs to find one of the beds to lie down in.
Wonderful. So we've got Hix. All right, Hix is back. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm following your lead.
great. So you're heading upstairs, imitating Aldo's drunkenness. As you climb up the little spiral, very tight spiral staircase together, you reach this like the rest of it has been very nice and sort of wooden interiors, but this is beautiful. There's like a lush carpet. There are some fancy chairs, and you see outside one of these salons, there are two men in these Deathlands creatures' coats. Faces, one of them's covered by a hood. The other is like a lot of ghost burns on his face and on his hand as well. But they're just sort of sitting, trying to keep themselves as invisible as possible. One of the lamps near them, they've actually put out to sort of keep themselves a little bit less visible. But they're at some distance from you still. You could easily be passing by them convincingly.
Yeah. Gonna try to pass by them and enter into whichever like door is next to the one that they're standing in front of.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so let's make I think that's a prowl, or you could do whatever the performance would be, whether that's a consort or I don't know. What do you think? Or sway, probably, since it's a lie.
Yeah, sure.
I'll aid.
Yeah, all right, I'll take that. I'll take an aid on the sway, which needs to go better than the last one.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Better than the last one. 5.
Okay, great. So let's see. You as you're stepping across the car, sort of past these guys, your heart starts to thrum as you see these individuals and sort of reminded of the creatures and things you faced in the Deathlands. These guys, whoever they are, have survived living out in the Deathlands for years, and so one of them sort of catches your eye. You walk past and open up, and by utter miracle, the door to this little salon is open. You open it up. Hix goes inside, and then a hand grasps yours in a vice-like grip. This is one of the members of the Marrow. That you see the ghost scars on his hand. And he says, "Pardon me. You weren't with a family who went in there before."
Listen. It is not any of your business what happens inside a man's private rooms on board a train. I kindly request that you release my hand.
All right, let's make a consort roll on that.
Yeah, Varric.
5 and a 1.
Okay, great. So he lets go of your he lets go of your hand temporarily. Says, "All right, pardon me." And you see his eyes sort of glow with this bluish light that's just a little bit frightening. So I'm gonna give you a harm, which is anxious, level 1 harm. So you can resist that if you like, or you can just take the harm.
No, I think that makes sense. I'll take that.
Okay, great. So this is gonna make actions like consort and sway a little bit reduced effect because you're just a little bit freaked out because this guy just stares at you and then lets you go, so lets you step back. You also hear as you get inside the chamber, these two men, one of them goes downstairs, maybe relaying a message to another member of the Marrow. All right, so Hix and Varric have just stepped inside this other salon. It's this beautifully constructed. There's a lot of people. There's nobody inside here. Luckily, big nice bed here. Sort of recently, quite messy. It seems like somebody had a really nice time in here and then has gone to the dining car and left the door unlocked. So, girl, Aldo, Bram, any thoughts? What are we doing? And I'm going to. With both of those 5s, I'm going to also fill the locate the Rathsbane's clock. So you now are certain that in the salon next to the one that you were inside, they're inside there. It's just a matter of getting in.
Aldo and Bram have returned to the inside of the train.
And they know, let's just say that I've relayed it to a blue coat. I mean, not to a blue coat, to one of the rail jacks on the way up. And I say, just count me aiding you, whatever y'all end up rolling, and I'll take the stress as it goes, as it comes.
Great. Cool. So yeah, you have gotten the message from. You get let in by a railjack. This younger man who goes, "Oh, they said they're on the second floor in one of the salons up there. Looks like they've gotten in up there. So anyway, you need anything from me?"
No,
Oh, you're not in there, girl.
I'm not there.
Did you get inside? Did you get inside the train?
I'm still in the undercarriage. I thought they were too, though.
Oh, the
I
idea
had
is that the
them let up.
railjack is letting them up inside. So you could come up with them. Yeah.
Oh.
All three of you could get up together. Yeah, sure.
No. I'll stay on the outside. Someone needs to be on the outside of the train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aldo, if he hasn't gotten in, could you make us an entrance? Somewhere where there wasn't one already.
That's what I'm here for. And he takes his big pack off. Where are we? Like in between cars? Maybe in like a...
You're in the sleeping car. It's pretty dark in here. Like
Okay.
the lights are all off. So there's just like a little bit of light coming from another train. So you guys are just ststaring at each other, hitting off to the one side.
All right,
The
fantastic.
stairs right next to you lead up.
So, and on this first floor is what's going on? Like, are there
On this first floor-
there wars? There are rooms as well.
There are closed doors to all of these sleeping bunks. So there's like 35 of them. So people could like just open the door, walk in, and go to sleep inside one of the bunks.
Fantastic. We're, Bram, if you'll come with me, are gonna head to one of the ones that is underneath the, I suppose, let's say the one underneath where they are meeting, where Hix is right now.
Okay, sure.
If we
Anyone
can do
in
that. Anyone? Knock knock.
You knock at the inside of this car. This is where the railjack comes in and unlocks it for you, lets you inside.
Oh, well.
Is there a guest in there?
There's no one in here at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's say we could make this a flashback, a one stress flashback that you organized this particular. Like,
oh no, I was ready to deal with it. I don't want stress.
Okay.
Yeah,
never mind.
If someone's in there, maybe I will get stressed. But
so you knock on the door, and you hear someone go, "Oh, what is it?" And the door and you then hear someone go, "What is it?"
we are so sorry. There is a small technical issue with this cabin. We need to relocate you to your next. It will only take a moment, please.
Nothing to be concerned about. We just simply want to make some functional repairs to the interior.
All right, let's roll on that. How's that go?
Great, fantastic.
So I guess I'm aiding you.
Okay, great. Aid me.
Sure.
That is
Take
great.
a stress to it. Yeah. Mhm.
It's a consort roll. It's a 5.
Okay. We're going to put 2 ticks in reaching the city, so we're getting closer to our destination. 2/3 of the way there. So this time is taken. You like eventually are able to get this person. This is an old woman who says, "Yeah, I paid for the sleeping car. They said that I would be able to sleep.
I know. This
sleep."
kind gentleman will help you with all of your things into the next room. And if you hear anything in here, it is simply small structural repairs, whatever he said.
Okay, all right. And she sort of steps out in one of then the railjack goes, this way to your new bunk, ma'am, and sort of brings her off. Yeah.
Great, and we're just gonna close the door and shut it and break the handle.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. It's super dark in here unless you decide to turn on the electroplasmic light, and you and Bram are very close together.
Oh, good. So, Aldo's got his bag, he's shifting it around in front of him, and he's like, "Here, get down." And he stabs on Bram's shoulders.
You son of a bitch.
All right, I need a boost.
Yeah, I'll boost him and hit his head against the top of the car.
Okay, that's too high. All right. And he'll pull his stuff out.
How hard is that, Graham? Does he roll a resistance on that? For
No.
stress? Okay.
Do we hear it from the floor above?
No.
Well, if you don't hear
There's
this,
a little.
you're gonna hear. And then a big old, say probably like 6 inches from your foot, Hix, a big old drill bit comes.
Like, just in time.
Yeah.
Just as we planned.
And
Yes.
use these fine wrecking tools I have brought with me to
Great.
fashion a hole that's just big enough for us to squeeze through. Sorry, Bram.
Well, when we're trying to get into the car where our our mark is, right? Which
yes.
is different than the car that Hix and
We're next to the car.
Next
that I'm
door.
yeah.
So I figured we'd meet up instead of just blowing into the room where they don't know we're coming. That was sort of my guess. Bram. Sure.
we just want to get there, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Anyway, here we are.
I'm not taking stress so we can get to the room next to the room we're trying to get into.
Yeah, you're good. This was the plan. We're gonna get in the room next to it. You're gonna cut a hole in the room, and as we hear that, that's the sign for us, Varric, to go around here and get in that room and neutralize everyone inside and get down. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Before the neutralization, can the girl, because you mentioned, Ted, some of the cars have skylights. I'd love to climb up and try and get a lay of the land for the car that we're actually trying to get into.
Yes, absolutely. So you're not trying to, just for clarity, you're not moving like the car in which the Rathsbanes are. It's the same one that they're in. It's just that there's separate rooms in it. So you're not trying to like hop to a different train.
Oh, okay.
You're inside the same car, but it's different rooms in the train.
Can I see where they are from the skylight?
Yeah, you can. So you climb up onto the side here, and you see down into the thing. So it would be strange, I think, for private rooms to have lights that like someone who's doing maintenance could see through. Probably.
That's the top
Unless
train.
Yeah, maybe they're. Yeah, okay, fine. So you can look down.
Up to you.
See, no, it's fine. You can see inside this room 4 people. 2 of these individuals are clearly servants. They're dressed in high quality clothes, but they're dirty. Their faces are dirty. The other 2 are clearly Darius and Vivienne Rathsbane. You see the resemblance with Thurgood, but they're much thinner and just almost emaciated, very lean. And Vivienne is reading a paper, and Darius is pacing back and forth. So they're down there, and you can also see on the next skylight, you can see not 2 but 3 members of the Marrow who are sort of waiting in the lobby to protect this situation if anyone gets involved.
I'll go to the side of the train, and using the same knocking system that we've established while we were all drinking together in the Yellow Parrot, I'm going to convey that there's 3 Marrow members outside and 4 people in the room itself.
Okay, great. Yep. So now Aldo and Bram, have we decided? Have they gotten into the room where the Rathsbanes are, or into the adjacent room?
Well, let's go straight up. Right before this happens, before they go in, let's say that Aldo's like, are we supposed to go into the room or the one next door?
In the fucking room.
He had already started, and he's like, hey, move over.
Hix, they've stopped drilling. Something's gone wrong.
And then he's going up into the room.
Wait, Ben, are we getting rid of the guards then?
I guess that's our. It seems to be that's our place in all this.
In
we
our
are
planning,
perfectly suited.
Yeah, in our planning, I think it was clear that we needed to not engage them in like an aggressive maneuver. So it makes sense to have the people who can deceive them engage them.
Right.
So I'm not just like punching them out and then they know who did it. You know.
Right. That's how I imagine it.
Right. I'm with you, Varric.
All right.
You said you were gonna get him out of here, so let's get him out of here.
Okay.
So let's so you guys step out the doorway before we as you're brainstorming about what exactly this looks like. Aldo, you're drilling this thing, and a foot falls through it and nearly hits you in the head. This is the shoe of one of the servants, and they go, "Oh my goodness!" And there's a bit of a shout. So I'm gonna put a tick into a clock. We've got some notice on you. We're going to finish up the snakes on the train thing. So there's a little bit of worry on the train. People are aware of you. Things are going down. But you climb up into the room and you see Darius and Vivienne Rathsbane. Darius is staring down at you as one of the servants sort of helps you into the room, sort of confusedly like, is this person supposed to be here? And Darius You see their faces, and you remember that Thurgood sort of seemed satiated by his privilege, and just sort of wanting to be coddled. Darius and Vivienne look positively starved for that privilege and power. Not only are they both bony and thin, but their eyes are piercing with attention and perhaps hunger. Vivienne, who was reading the paper, she looks down at you. Darius says, "Mother, it seems we have some visitors."
And Aldo will put a hand down and bring Bram up.
Great.
Time to go.
I'm sorry, where is it that we are going? Darius says.
Do we have the sense that they'd be resistant to this? Are we like...
They just seem to have not been communicated with. The last that the collective communicated with them was before they were captured by the Marrow.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
I'll have brought some kind of token from the collective. It doesn't necessarily have to be a personal token, but something that they would trust and say, "We're here from the collective, and you'll be coming with us. Time to move, lordly."
They sort of talk with each other for a moment. Vivienne, looking at Darius, says, "Who are they, Darius?" And he, holding the token, says, "They're criminals. Perhaps we're being exchanged to another set of captors, but they say they're from the collective." And he flips the coin to her, and she says, "All right." She stands up, brushes off her clothes. "Let's go." And
Sorry, Aldo's gonna go right to the door right now and do some work on it to make sure that it's not easy to get into.
Okay, great. Let's roll a tinker on that.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
This is part of the plan, everybody. We planned.
And I'll start.
Baby.
We're exiting the train with them, right?
We gotta get out of here.
Okay, I'll start strapping them to a piece of a harness that I've got on my back. Like I'll take off my coat, start strapping them to the harness, and then put the coat on behind their back so that it's wrapped around all of us.
That's awesome. Great. While that happens, so I rolled a 6, and that door is secured, and with my fine wrecking tools,
it is soldered shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is soldered shut. They're not getting through it. Vivienne sort of looks at the harness and says, "I think we can at least get off of the train together before I get strapped onto something."
Now that's how we're leaving the train. Get on.
Am I supposed to take one too, Bram?
I mean,
okay, great.
I can take them both if I need to.
They're servants.
There's 2 servants as well.
We're taking the servants too.
It was part of the job. We have to do it.
All right.
And
one of the servants, Vivienne has snapped at one of these servants a couple of times, just snapped her fingers to get her them to fetch her coat. And as you discuss this, one of them says, "You're not going to leave us here to die, are you?"
I'm not. It's all right. We'll take you.
You'll be with
They
me.
give each other very pointed looks.
Oh, listen, you'll be with me. With him, maybe, but not with me.
All right. Okay. So meanwhile,
and thump on the wall next door to those guys too.
Okay. So now the signal has been given. Hix and Varric, what are y'all doing?
I mean, it sounds like via the thump, it sounds like things are taken care of according to plan. If it had been 3 thumps, then that means that the door wasn't secured.
Yeah.
If it had been 4 thumps, then we assumed that everyone in the room had just hit the ground.
Yes.
So it sounds like our work here is done. We identified
don't
where
need
they
to
are, and
distract
we can turn around and leave.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So walk.
I'll begin to lead you out the door.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Let's get a couple prowls from everybody on getting to the back of the train.
Okay. I'll push myself.
Great. Not from everybody. Sorry, like one from each group. So Aldo and Bram do one. Varric and Hix do one.
I got 2 prowl. You want me to do this?
I have 2 as well.
I have 2.
How about I aid you, Varric? How about that?
Yeah.
You're gonna help me.
My history of rolls.
I got
definitely
3 more
proves
stress.
that
I
it's
believe
a
in
good
you, Varric.
Idea. 2, 4. Yes.
I believe in you.
That was a 4. Is that what you rolled?
Eventually, yeah.
Amazing.
With Hix's aid.
All right, and Aldo and Bram, how'd it go? We haven't
Let
rolled
me
yet.
let's see. So as I'm prowling, let's see. I can push to perform a feat of physical force that verges on superhuman.
Okay.
So what I'd like to try is to hoist both of them on my back and have it feel light enough that I can move stealthily with my prowl.
Okay, great.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I think that's very reasonable.
And we're moving through the train itself? Or are we going out?
That's your call. That's your choice. Yeah.
I think at this point, I am going to open, if there's a window,
Mm-hmm.
I can break it if I need to.
Yeah, sure.
But
Yeah.
I'll
And you're
open the
getting up onto
window,
the top.
attach a cable,
Yeah.
which I guess Aldo will kind of steward, and
Yeah.
I will climb out with both of them and prowl along the side of the train as the wind is whipping. I've got the wind protective gear around all three of us,
Yes.
and I've
yes.
got the two marks, and I am climbing along the outside of the train, Tom Cruise style.
Amazing. Yes, let's roll it.
Okay, so that's a 6.
Okay, great. So
Oh.
that's a success for you. You're able to do that. And you're like moving along the side of the train. The girl, you watch as this window gets opened up. Bram climbs out and is sort of cabling along the side. Varric and Hix, as the two of you are sneaking out, you are able to get down the stairs, heading out of the sleeping cars. You get through to the next, to the livestock car where there's all these cows. And as you're halfway through it, you see one of the doors open, and one of the members of the Marrow is hurrying, walking at a brisk pace after you, and is starting to reach into his coat for a gun. The girl, you are on top of the train, sort of heading along with everyone. Is that, I assume, the direction you're going?
Yeah. I'm sort of keeping an eye on Bram down there, and everyone sort of the observer above the tray.
Yeah. And as you're doing that, you hear a shattering of glass behind you as the skylight blows up, and a huge man steps out of it in one of these big coats. This is a very large member of the Marrow. His big fist slams down as he climbs up out of it, and is sort of looking along the side for Bram and the others. And as he's pulling out a rifle, he sees you, and is for momentarily still, because every time that there's a situation where someone acts first, you have the chance to act first.
I was gonna remind you of that even.
Yes.
What I would like to do is I would like to push myself using Devil's Footsteps,
Cool.
and perform a feat of athletics that verges on a superhuman. I would like to jump onto the man, sort of piggyback style, with a bandage and blindfold him and make a grab for the gun as I'm grappled onto him.
Oh
That's
my
what I
gosh.
would
Okay,
like.
great. So yes, that sounds like a skirmish to me.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to push yourself? I also have a devil's bargain for you.
I mean, I am pushing myself because I need to use that
because
ability
you
in
have
the
to do
first
that
place.
ability. Great.
Oh,
Cool.
but I would also love to know the devil's bargain.
Yes.
The devil's bargain I'll give you is that you get another die, but Torque, the leader of the Marrows, reveals his true nature.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that's too intriguing not to do that. Yeah, I'll let him reveal his true nature. So I get one more die to my skirmish.
Nah, we'd rather not find out the true nature.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't really.
Hate for the stream to get interesting.
Good save.
I was riveted by figuring out where to saw. So okay. That's a 5.
Assholes. So, because you're not interested enough,
Just kidding. The girl was just on top of the roof the whole time. You're like, these idiots.
That's accurate. It's fair.
Yes. So, Bram is continuing to work on this. You hear this, Bram. You hear the shattering and see this enormous figure. 6'5", taller than any human really could be. But inside joke, everyone. But the
Season 1 Easter egg.
yeah, you grab at the gun and you're able to throw it, and it goes flying off into the Deathlands. You see from here, we're going to finish the reaching the city clock as the train flies past the lightning wall, and you are in Duskfall. You have not missed your window yet. There is a 3-part clock called Missing the Window, in which case, if you miss it, you will not be able to get them off the train in time. But in the moment that happens, this figure his limbs become far too large and sort of blackish and clawed and like shadowy. They sort of exist beyond his clothing. And as you are looking at him, you remember that you have heard of legends of things that exist in the supernatural that are not ghosts, spectral, intelligent realities that possess the bodies of the living, creeping into the ears of sleepers or alluring them with promises of power. As the hulking shadow ripples around Torque and he becomes larger, you wonder if you are seeing a demon for the first time, and you are wondering if this demonic creature is how the Marrows survived in the Deathlands. So this man, his eyes utterly black, sort of roars at you, "They are ours," and comes towards you. So you have thrown the weapon out of his hands. He can no longer go after your quarry, but is now engaging in a fight with you. You're going to make a resistance roll against him, or take level 2 harm of demonic blades, I think would be the name of the harm.
This is Bram or me?
This is you, girl.
I'm so sorry. I was like, yeah, I think he's going after Bram. Oh no.
Yeah. No, excuse me. I've just got 2 people on my back. So I'm hanging on a train.
You fight the demon. I'm carrying you.
Yeah.
See how you.
I thought I was going fast.
Never go after me. Yeah. So I'll roll to resist.
Yeah, you roll to resist level 2 harm. This is another prowess resistance.
That's a 4.
Okay, so 2 stress, and I don't know, like how do you dodge this attack from this demon?
Using my magnetic hooks, I'm going to just like launch myself like at him, but underneath one of his like arms that is coming swinging at me, and come down like hands first with the magnets hitting the train, and then swing my body around to face him again.
Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, you're able to to dodge under him, and you're now is he now between you and the back of the train where you're heading towards, or is he now behind you?
No, I think I'm trying to lure him towards the front of the train.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So away.
Yeah. Cool. So we're going to I'm going to start a 6-part clock called Torque Exhausted, which is the name of this guy, though you wouldn't know that, but we're going to do that for the sake of narrative, so I don't have to keep calling him the guy or
Great.
the demon. So Torque Exhausted is now it's at 6-part clock. It's now at 2 out of 6. All right. So what is everybody else doing? Varric and Hix, you were being pursued by a member of the Marrow.
So we're in one of these livestock carts, and
Yep.
presumably the guy who grabbed Varric's wrist is following us,
Yes.
pulled out a gun.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great. I'll just turn around and I'll say, Varric, I'll take care of this guy. And I'll take my jacket off, dramatically producing a knife, and I will sprint at him, lunge at him, attempting to kill him outright. I have a special ability called Daredevil. This is from the Lurk playbook, actually.
Cool.
It's when I roll a desperate action, I get +1 die if I also take -1 die to any resistance roll.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
So I'm going to roll Wreck because that seems appropriate.
Do it. Yeah. Do you want to? Oh yeah. Go ahead.
And that is a 5.
Okay, great. So you're describe what this slash looks like that nearly takes him down.
I think
Like,
that this is
how you reckon with this dagger, yeah.
I think I am attempting to just charge at him and just overwhelm him, surprising him that this little well-dressed person would do this, and try to just stab him repeatedly in the heart if possible, in the chest is kind of what I'm going for. Or if that seems armored, then at the throat, just pretty savagely, I guess.
Absolutely. So you leap onto him. He's totally taken by surprise. His gun clatters out of his hands onto the ground, and you stab at him in the heart. It clangs against it as if against stone because of these crazy calloused ghost burns. But you, after 2 or 3 strikes, are able to strike pretty heavily. His clavicle and like his blood is a mixture of red and black as it sort of pours out of him. For that 5, we're going to take. We're going to put 1 tick into missing the window, and because this is a desperate action, I'll have one more complication, which is that you're going to be, he's going to be locked with you on the ground, or you can choose to resist that. So you can choose to resist him grappling you on the ground.
I accept it. It's fine.
Okay, great. So yeah, you are now like locked with this guy in combat on the ground. Aldo, are you now clambering along the side of the train with Bram? What's your plan?
Yeah, but I mean, in my mind, if I can see this situation on top of this.
Yeah,
train,
totally. You're hearing it.
Okay,
Yes.
I'd love to get involved.
Okay. Yeah.
So like shouting to these servants who I'm supposed to watch over. Aldo's just like, just follow him, pointing at Bram, and then I'm like, Bram, I'm going up, and then I just go up, and yep, he's gone.
Boston.
Yep, he's up. And what I'd like to do, if I can see Torque, is his name?
Torque. Yeah.
Torque. Great.
Yeah, this huge figure that's like looming over the girl, who's like, he's now pursuing her, and he like maybe leapt onto the next train, like slammed onto it behind her.
All right.
Behind her.
This is an interesting situation, but I would like to approach him running as I do, pulling stuff out of my bandolier. I got a shot of ghost, or not of ghost juice. I call that ghost juice, but it's called Quicksilver. And I want to like straight into my neck, shoot this thing up. And I don't know if this is going to work, everybody. Thank you very much. But here we go. I will run at him, and I want to use my Ghost Ward ability to try to kind of wreck him, to make him somewhat enticing toward other spirits. I don't know if that will cause
cool.
difficulty
Sure.
for him. But this coming out of like Aldo's research, we'll call it, with the ghosts,
Sure.
as this ghost or as the Quicksilver like fills him, and Aldo now sees, like looking down at himself, the glow from under his shirt, and he's gonna just come up with his sword and draw it, and just try to like stab it into any part of him he can get into, and try to imbue him.
This seems like a desperate roll to me.
Yes, that's what I want. I want that to be desperate.
Absolutely. Great. What's your action you're thinking?
It's wreck.
Okay, great. Cool.
So not precision. I just want to kid him.
Yeah, this will be regular, normal effect.
Okay.
Standard effect.
I'll take a 5.
Okay, great. So that's another 2 ticks on Torque exhausted. So he roars out as the blade enters him. So the mixture of this described to me, you're trying to both fight him and make him tempting to other ghosts.
I'm just trying to gross ward him. I'm trying to make him as an area not enticing toward other ghosts and spirits. So if I can do that, if we feel like that is a little weird, then I'm just going to make this train that.
I think it's all right. Yeah, so
Great.
you're like making the area, boom, like suddenly the girl, you look down and you see like runes appearing in the metal that weren't there before, this ring of runes on the metal surface of this, and they glow with this bluish ghost light. Torque sort of looks around at it and turns to see Aldo kind of chuckling, and like one of his hands, burns with this black fire, but suddenly you see like a ghost speed past, like a bird flying swiftly, and it sort of distracts him momentarily. Nothing's immediately happening with the ghost ward. It'll take a moment.
Sure.
But in the meantime, we're going to take another one in missing the window. You guys are getting closer to Duskfall as you go.
Do we have any? Do we get some in exhaust? Or is that coming up?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
You got 2 in
All right.
exhaust. Yes,
Sorry,
so you're
I missed
much
that.
closer to him being over. So meanwhile, Bram, you're moving across the train here. You're making good progress towards the rear of the train, which is, I assume, where you're going to get off. Unless there's a specific plan that you guys want to do, the Orca's Tooth could be well positioned to sort of receive a drop off from the train.
Ooh, yeah. I think it depends on how we imagine the rail struts or legs or whatever.
Yeah. Sure.
If there are intervals between them enough that I could like swing under and get like a magnetic grappling hook or something to connect to the bottom of the train itself.
Yeah.
And then like lower myself as we're swinging and following between the train track struts, and then just land on the Orca's Tooth like Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's kind of what I was imagining.
That's how I imagined it.
I imagine it too, just like that.
I know that we're getting very close to the city.
Yes.
And Bram
Yes.
is starting to pant desperately from his fatigue and
Yes.
wants to get this done with. And so I am going to, I'll mark off, I've already marked off climbing gear, but I think there's like a special, I'll mark off one more thing on my load in terms of, like a magnetic grappling hook. It's pretty darn
extra
specific.
fancy versions of this. Yes, that is specific. Yeah,
Great.
I can
and I'll
have
try
passed you that. I have room.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll just swing under and attach that to the bottom of the train and let myself down as I, groaning from, holding on to this cord while 2 humans are clinging to my body.
Only 3 people's
insane.
body weight. Come on, bro.
So what do you think is the correct action to roll for this?
It's tough.
I mean, like,
it's
a
tough.
finesse would certainly work for it, but I don't know if that's Bram's strength.
It
here.
is the absolute worst talent I have. So, yeah, I don't know if there's like a pure I mean, I think prowess is appropriate, but
Yeah,
you
could roll it as like a prowess resist, which is kind of what we did with the drinking thing. I don't know if
the problem
you feel like
is
that
if
would
I
work.
fail a resist, I'm gonna get
you're
traumatized.
You're gonna traumatize. All right, yeah, let's.
So I prefer to frame it as trying to
Yes.
succeed.
Yes, I agree with that. I
active
think that's great. Yeah,
So if you're okay, I'll do a prowl.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, totally.
And it's a 6!
Oh my
baby.
gosh.
Oh, baby.
So yeah,
Is the Orca's Tooth there? Do I land?
yes, the Orca's Tooth is there. Yes,
Splash.
Yeah, you roll on the top of the Orca's Tooth, and the 2 people fly off of you. Like Darius is smacked against the railing of the thing. Everybody's fine, but they they landed, and you're lifted up to your feet by Arisha Frost, who says, "That was fucking wild." And
Thank you,
she
Arisha.
looks up, and you see the glow of this ghost battle happening between this demon Aldo and the girl on top of the train. Sorry, what did you say to Arisha?
Oh, just say thanks, love. Appreciate it. Now, do I have the sense that we are now going to be separated from the rest of the group? I mean, are they on their own?
We
I'd say
can
we're
see.
gone.
I think let's give it at least another second of like actions that others would have taken, but possibly yes. So Varric and Hix, what are you up to?
What? So, what livestock are in this room?
These are mostly pigs, and there are geese. Unless there's something specific you're looking for, we could see what we got.
Okay.
You're looking for something big, like.
Yeah, I had an idea to try to. I was assuming I brought some edge with me, and I was going to try to attach a rope to a large animal and attach it to the Mara member and stick the animal with edge and try to get it to charge off, dragging him away from Hix.
Like, what if it's a huge, monstrous pig? Like, these are
Yeah.
like deathland
wild
pigs that have been like somehow domesticated, and they're like,
Yeah.
I get a bit of
they're just
PTSD
grotesque.
flashback from of looking at the giant pig, remembering the giant boar.
Yeah, you've
Yes.
worked with pigs before.
Yeah, you wrangled a pig before and destroyed a government facility.
So yeah, I'd like to try and do that, like loop something around its neck and run over to where Hix and the guy are struggling. And
Love it. Yes. What is your action for this? What do you think is appropriate?
so that feels like it would be a finesse.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to use my Rook's Gambit and take 2 stress to roll sway.
Okay.
But would that then mean that I would have less effect because of the anxious?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I think if you're using Rook's Gambit, and given like the specific situation here, I think I mean, one of my thoughts is yes, it would be reduced effect, but you could push yourself to bring the effect back to normal if you wanted.
Or perhaps I can aid. I mean, because I can just kind of sense what you're up to and try to like roll him in a more advantageous position. And with aid, you can either take an extra die or increase effect.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will take that aid and increase the effect.
Great.
6.
Yes. Oh gosh. Okay. So, describe what happens. Not that I'm a little bit unsure exactly what you're saying, but yeah, tell me what happens.
So Varric, in the most like the greatest feat of athleticism that he has ever engaged in, grabs like a loop of rope off of the wall, like starts running towards Hix and the Mara member, opens a gate and slips the loop of rope around the pig's neck, and at the same time takes out a needle and just chucks it into the pig to begin to get it to charge. And then while the pig is starting to run in one direction, he's going to sprint towards the man and just loop the rope around the guy's leg and then hold onto it so that the force of the pig dragging is going to yank the Mara member off of Hix and away from
Great.
us.
Yes. Yep. It happens exactly as you planned it for the first time in your recalled life. You fly this thing, and in this insane situation, the pig squeals as the edge enters its system. Its eyes dilate, and it sprints off, and the Marrow guy sort of growling at Hix, like preparing this long bony dagger to like stab into him. Instead, gets dragged off immediately, along the metal floor of the train. So you and Hix are now here together, standing and ready to sprint to the back of the train and get out of here.
Thank God. Let's do so.
Yes, let's go.
So the two of you are able to sprint backwards, get to the far end of the train. You have missed the window with the Orcus tooth. What's your exit strategy? The people are off the train. You could just get off the train normally, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, look, sort of Varric straightens his tie.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
we're just passengers, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm glad everyone's all right.
Meanwhile, cut back to the girl who is now facing down a demon. The demon is between, trying to get a look at both you and Aldo. Girl, what do you do?
I think I kind of yell across the car like, I'm sick of your ghost shit. And then I'm gonna take throwing knives and go 1, 2
Okay.
at the head.
At my head?
Right.
At Aldo's head, not at Torg's head. So finesse.
Sure. Yeah. You can push yourself to get increased effects,
I will push myself.
or you could choose to do a desperate roll.
I'll push myself.
Okay.
6.
Okay. Yeah. So these. So tell me how you. What are the last blows that sort of that exhaust this demon?
Well, I mean, I have throwing knives and I'm aiming at his head, and yelling
Sure.
at him.
Yes. Yeah, so the girl just sort of stepping backwards across the thing as it
Yeah.
steps towards her, just and the first knife sort of strikes past him, like slicing at this incorporeal black substance, and then another one strikes right in the jugular. It keeps walking towards you, and the third one strikes in his forehead, and you see this, like, the black mist sort of collapse. The body of this individual, the man who was once Torque, collapses to the metal, and then the black cloud drags the body away, slithering and serpentine into the train where he is gone.
Awesome. With this happening and me having made this area enticing to ghosts, can I ghost ward to reverse this, please?
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
want the ghosts taking these people out or us on the way out.
Yeah. Sure.
So if I may rec again to do that.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
really am going to push myself because I don't want to screw this up.
Right.
So, I don't want to kill the girl. You know what I mean? Okay. So,
Gotta keep
pushing
it.
myself. Okay. A 6.
Okay.
And so I think with that, once again, like, I don't know, would she see, because, like, Aldo sees this under the influence of the situation, probably the, like, chest really glowing, that's where this is coming from, and stuff, and I think at this point probably the girl would see that as well, and maybe just a tinge within the eyes in the same way that Varric might have seen back then, and just kind of, like, instinctually, like, just, like, puts a hand straight down, not on it, and sort of a wave of energy goes out, and the girl would feel this, and maybe images flashing into your head of a woman desperate, holding a child, peering through the other side of a familiar blue shimmer of a lightning wall, and she's crying, shrieking, pleading, "Take my child, please, my child," as she's overwhelmed by ghosts passing through and around her. Another moment, a bloodied face of a man, jet black hair crumpled in a heap. Another moment, a young girl standing on a dock waving. A flash, she's waving from the boat. Another flash, a body in the water. And that's it, as Aldo kind of... Let's get the fuck out of here. And just, like, gets up as if nothing happens, and's, like, gonna just run toward the back of the train.
The girl will follow.
Great.
So you are all able to get off of the train at Gaddock Rail and disappear into the crowd. There are a few members of the Marrow who you see as they're getting off of the train, sort of looking for you, but there's not as many. It's clear that some of them are tending to Torque or to the one that's been dragged to the far end of the train by a pig. But we're gonna jump down to the Orca's Tooth, where you'll see that I think that the servants followed you and were able to take the same route down. So you've got all 4 of these people down on the deck of the Orca's Tooth. Vivienne is sitting there, and they see Duskfall, and he says, "Mother, we're home." Darius to Vivienne, and she says, "You should thank the criminals." And Darius looks over to you and reaches out to thank you and says, "You've done us a great service, and at some cost, so we appreciate it."
I take his hand, warmly, give it a squeeze, and then I motion to the Frost Hunters to come and put sacks over their heads as we escort them down into the Orca's Tooth and put them into the hiding compartments.
Yeah, as you make the gesture, people start coming towards, and then you hear a growling voice from one of these servants, who cries out. You turn to them and you see that they're holding a long knife, and they say, "I won't let you get back into Duskfall, you monsters!" And he runs towards Darius.
I've got
Great,
plenty of
yeah.
load left to have a gun with me.
Oh, he's got
do
load.
it. Make the shot. Yes. He's
I'm
not
a
going
man
for you.
of
He's
many
going for
loads.
Darius. Just so you know. Yes, but yeah, make the shot.
You said he's going for Darius?
Darius, not you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know, but I'm still, I gotta protect my Darius.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll skirmish if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Or hunt?
Yeah, hunt's good. Yeah.
All
that's
right.
great.
It's a fine heavy weapon, and I'll make it. I'll sacrifice position for effect. Make this a
Step
desperate.
in front of him. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
headshot.
getting in the way of
maybe
Yeah,
if
sure.
successful.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, it is a 6.
Okay. Yeah. The shot, boom, rings out across the canal. This, their head swings back. A spatter of blood flies up in a vertical line, and they collapse onto the deck, blood pooling. Before you were able to make another move, the other servant with their own knife is running, but they're stopped. Vivienne, standing nearby, is holding out a hand, and her eyes are glowing a vivid white, as are Darius's. Both of them are raising their hands towards the servant, who is frozen in space and lifted into the air. And as you watch, you hear the crunch of their bones. This individual is by the power of Darius and Vivienne, who are using their whisper ability to essentially to crush this person. There's a draining like a sponge of this person's blood and guts as they spill out of this individual, and they're crushed just to the size of a schoolyard ball and collapse onto the deck. And Darius says, "Thank you for saving my life."
Bram
And
looks
that's
down at his gun in confusion.
And with the success of our score, we'll say that is where we end our session for tonight.
Gosh. Oh man.
So thank you all so much for being here for this crazy weird score, trying to figure out the insides of a train. Thank you for everyone. Loved all the work tonight. It was really wonderful. Any announcements we should be aware of? Well, the first thing is we need to announce tomorrow we're having a Moonchase stream. Graham, tell us a bit about that.
Yes, tomorrow we'll continue our weekly series as we do a charity stream to benefit Jasper's Game Day, an organization that promotes suicide awareness and prevention. And we are going to have some special guests such as Newbie DM, Enrique Bertrand, Alpha Stream, Teos Abadia. We're going to have Gabrielle Harboui. We're going to have many other great friends join us. And so we'll be doing that tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Awesome.
Amazing. So cool. Yeah, it's been wonderful seeing the Moonchase stream so far. It's amazing people. Definitely tune in. I think that's all. The other thing is that if you're interested, in about a half hour, the album of our Blades music will become available for streaming on Spotify. And if I accidentally messed up the time, it'll probably happen at midnight because that's the official day of release. Anyway, so we're gonna head off to a raid. Perhaps is that the plan?
Sure.
Let's raid it.
We got some friends we can raid.
Venture Maidens.
Awesome.
Let's do
So
it.
I'm gonna head over to Venture Maidens and say hello to them. Thank you all for being here. So wonderful to have you this evening, and we're looking forward to coming back next week for more of the Contraband.